proof on that.
I just hope and pray na at some point matatapos din itong family drama nga, itong gulo na nangyayari sa pamilya ko.
Talaga, hindi ko nakita na may effort.
Bilang Pilipino, bilang Pilipino.
The sad news is that we have not had access to any of that data.
It's been 4 hours since polling precincts closed across the country, and votes from polling precincts all over the country are being transmitted as we speak. Magandang gabi, I'm Andre Felix.
We will be providing you those numbers, accompanied by comprehensive analyses from our esteemed guests. I'm Cheska Calao. Sa bawat boto, bayan ang ipanalo.
Bilang Pilipino.
Tanggal yung saksakan na, tanggal to ate.
Oh.
Nice, it's very dark. As the nation watches and awaits, our coverage continues across the country. Mobile journalists and News 5 correspondents remain on the ground, tracking developments from the moment polls open to this crucial phase of counting. This is part of our 31-hour rolling election coverage.
And we will check in with our mobile journalists right now. Julie Baisa is in Ilocos Norte monitoring the vote in the president's home province. Denise Valdez Sancho is covering the local race in Manila City. We also have Isa Abello in Quezon City and Arles de los Santos in Makati.
And we're also getting critical updates from our News 5 reporters deployed across key areas. At the Comelec Data Center in Manila, we have Faith Del Mundo watching the flow of official returns. In Davao City, Bril Montalvo is covering one of the mayoral races between former President Rodrigo Duterte and former Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles. Gio Robles is reporting from the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, and we'll also get updates from Dale Israel on Cebu City.
Well, it's 11:27. It has been a rocky whirlwind. How many hours since voting started? 5 o'clock this morning for senior citizens, for persons with disabilities, and also for pregnant women. And we stopped voting, the closing of the precincts at 7 o'clock, so
7 p.m.
roughly around less than 5 hours. So far, ladies, we were talking about it. I think both of you, well, I am as shocked as everybody with what we're seeing right now, and we're not even done yet with the numbers coming in at Comelec.
Yeah, but at this point, it's clear the Pinklawans and the Dilawans right here behind us. You can actually see, guys, they've made a big comeback. Bam Aquino at number 2. Alam niyo sa surveys, guys,
He
Andre-
was in and out of the top 12.
Yes.
And then now he's at number 2. Bam is at number 2. Kiko is at number 5. And it was funny a while ago because in the beginning, you know, people were waiting for the ERs to come in. Medyo mabagal. And then biglang nagsabay-sabay.
Yes.
Pasadaan natin, Chiki, and check. I think for those tuning in or for those wondering if you're living under a rock, as of 10:15 ngayong gabi po, May 12, let's take a look. Number 1 is re-election is Senator Bong Go with over 25 million votes. Bam Aquino is trying to get a Senate seat back with over 20 million votes coming in at number 2.
I think he's
Also-
pretty safe there. Not trying anymore.
and
Pretty
also
safe.
being called as a dark horse for the 2025 midterm elections. Coming in at number 3, over 19 million votes, re-election is Senator Bato de la Rosa. Number 4 is Erwin Tulfo with over 16 million votes, and rounding at top 5 so far as of 10:15 in the evening is Kiko Pangilinan with over 14 million votes. Opposition here clearly, both Pangilinan and Bam Aquino part of the top 5, surprising a lot of pundits as well. Chiki.
Yes, you did mention a dark horse, no? Number 6, guys, Rodante Marcoleta,
Marcoleta, yes.
14.48 million votes. Octa called this, na siya yung magiging dark horse, no? And we see it right here now. Very surprising. Sabi nga nila, di ba, a lot of the political scientists, a lot of the political strategists, and even the ones from the survey companies, no? Sabi nila, ang totoong survey talaga is election day
Election
talaga.
day.
Ito na talaga. Because the surveys that they come out with, they always repeat, no? It's just a snapshot of a point in time.
Alam mo, maganda
Ito
na banggit
talaga.
mo yan dahil Sabado, nung nag-meeting de Avance kayo
Yes.
ng STL Group with Joey Francisco and,
And
si Mase,
si Mase.
Maricel Halili, naalala ko pinag-usapan nila yan, check na antayin natin kahit ano pang sabihin sa mga survey. Yes, the surveys will be there, SWS, Okta, lalabas yan. Pero ang Lunes, pag bumoto na ang taong bayan, yan na ang totoong survey. Check.
And we will be getting into the surveys later on as well.
You want to do also, where did you stop? Did you stop?
Rodante Marcoleta, the dark
Go ahead,
horse.
The
check.
dark horse at number 7, Ping Lacson with 14,413,528 votes. Tito Sotto with 14,165,832 votes. Pia Cayetano at number 9, 13,890,079 votes. And rounding out the top 12 for
Punta
now.
ako, check, makikita
sige.
natin. Pasok sa Magic 12 dahil ang dami nagsasabi na wala sa survey. Di ba si Camille Villar has been going up and down. But Camille Villar, as we know, being endorsed also by Vice President Sara Duterte, malaking tulong daw yun. Sabi ng mga ibang mga analysts and pundits, is part of the Magic 12 at number 10 with over 12.9 million votes. And the presidential sister, the sister of President Bongbong Marcos, medyo nagkakagulo ngayon sa Marcos, also being endorsed by VP Sara Duterte. Amy Marcos, titingnan natin mamaya with Mary Mon kung saan ba malakas si Amy Marcos, who is a re-electionist, kung malakas pa rin ba siya sa Solid North or nakuha ba niya yung Solid South sa tulong ni VP Sara. And rounding out the Magic 12, Lito Lapid, who has been part of the Magic 12 in the surveys, over 12.6 million votes. And then, to finish the top 15, number 13, Ben Tulfo. Ito yung medyo pinag-uusapan.
Bumaba talaga to.
Bumaba. Ang laki
Oo.
ng binaba dahil alam natin sa mga surveys, Ben Tulfo was a part of the top 10 even. And top 5, may mga ibang surveys, he was even part of the top 5 and top 10. And then, Bong Revilla, also part of the top 15 with 11.4 million votes. And rounding out top 15, outgoing Makati Mayor, and now trying to get a Senate seat is Abby Binay. So far, ito po, 75.45% pa lamang yan. This is as of 11:19 p.m. May 12. So up to date tayo with our survey, with our counts coming in sa COMELEC.
You know, the results of the elections so far, no, ito talaga yung, it's a perfect example because a lot of people that I was talking to, they were like, ay, ayaw na namin kasi lumabas yung mga surveys, nadidismaya na kami. We don't want to vote anymore. There's no chance. We're just going downhill. You know, the Philippines is just going downhill. Pero people went out to vote.
See the results. And
Nag-iba,
that's why you
sobra.
have to go out and vote.
Yeah.
Because no matter what the surveys say, if you go out and vote, you have a say in what comes out on that screen.
Yes, I'm actually also waiting for the voter turnout.
Yes,
no?
isa pa yun.
Oo.
Isa pa rin na hinihintay natin.
Binanggit din kasi po yan ni Chiki nung sa meeting de Avance, which actually nagamit ko din kaninang umaga yan. And even kaninang alas 11 sa TV5 naman. Na yung voter turnout, kasi kahit sabihin mo na yung mga votes natin, yung registered voters is over 68.4 million registered voters, eh sabi mo nga kung 6 out of the 10, 60% lang yan.
Oo.
So we're hoping for a higher voter turnout. And at the same time, kanina din, this morning, with Gretchen Ho, Sean Yao, and Pauline Versosa, we were looking at the, inaasar pa nga nila ako kanina, dun sa voters by generation.
Why?
This is also,
Teka lang.
Why?
Wait, wait.
No, kasi
Magkaedad tayo.
Kasama naman tayo dyan ata.
Gen Z and millennials. Millennials is top at 34%. Mamaya, papasadaan natin, 27% yung Gen Z. Bakit importante yan? Dahil sa nakikita natin, pinag-uusapan nga on social media, how the Gen Zs and the millennials going to the voting precincts, going to the voting centers, and making their voices heard with, so far, with what we're seeing sa top 12 na papasok.
And they make up more than half of our voters, no? More than half of our registered voters. And these are the people, the Gen Zs and the millennials, na pwedeng mag-last minute change.
Yes.
Like when they're actually there voting, pag-isipan nila last minute na bobotohin nila yung mga candidates na gusto nila. Okay guys, let's head on to Pasig City where incumbent Mayor Vico Sotto was already proclaimed. We have News 5 digital producer RG Mendoza. RG, what's going on there?
Hi, nandito tayo ngayon sa high school graduation pero hinihintay lang natin ang opisyal na proklamasyon kasi nga sa huling mga tala kanina ay nangunguna ng higit sa 300,000 votes si Vico Sotto.
Ano gusto mo?
I should be number
Can you hear me, guys?
Ako din, hindi ko din kaya.
Sorry, go ahead RG.
Okay, I'm sorry. So yun nga, higit sa 300,000 ang lamang ni Mayor Vico Sotto sa mga huling tala kanina. Pero ngayon, hinihintay pa natin ng opisyal na anunsyo ng mga candidates na kanina, nasa 92% pa lang, binigay nilang datos sa atin. So pati kanina, meron pang mga nilang hinihintay na bilang para official na iproklama nga Vico Sotto. Pero sigurado naman na si Vico Sotto na ang si Sotto kuma dahil na bigyan na yung layo niya yung kay Sara Diskaya at sa dalawa pa niyang mga katulad ni bilang mayor dito sa Pasig. And that goes to him, sorry?
Yes, nakausap niyo na ba si Mayor Vico Sotto or anyone from his camp? Meron ba siyang initial statements?
Wala pa, pero ngayon hinihintay ng mga supporters niya yung pagdating niya dito. Inaasahang anong oras, darating na siya dito sa gymnasium.
Ah, okay.
RG, Andre Felix to
Yes, Andre.
magandang gabi sa'yo. Alam mo naman natin dyan sa Pasig, sabi nga Vico Sotto on his third term and Sara Diskaya is medyo malayo sa nakikita natin so far. At may nakausap ka ba? Tinanong nga ni Chico kung may nakausap ka dun sa panig ni Vico Sotto, pero dun sa kabilang kampo, nakausap o nag-wave na ba ng white flag yung kampo ng kalaban ni Vico Sotto, yung Diskaya kampo?
As of this time, wala pa tayong nababalitaan na nag-concede nga yung kampo ni Sara Diskaya. Pero inaasahan natin any moment din, maglalabas sila ng statement tungkol dyan.
Totoo ba, RG, na yung sa balota, yung pangalan doon ni Sara Diskaya was Sara St. Gerard Diskaya? Is there truth to this? St. Gerard kasi, guys, is the construction company of Sara Diskaya and her husband.
Correct.
Hindi natin yan inabutan kanina dahil nasa COMELEC tayo sa Intramuros. Pero nung mapas na yung balitang yan for confirmation po.
RG, can you describe the general atmosphere where you are now? Nakikita namin medyo konti yung tao kung nasan ka. Kamusta yung araw dyan mismo sa Pasig kung nasan ka?
Right now, hindi po ako sa picture kasi pinakit lahat ng media dito sa taas at nasa baba yung mga supporters. Nakalabas yung ibang media po at ibang mga nag-aabang sa proclamation. Pero kanina, unti-unti na karami yung pumipila sa labas. And lahat sila, medyo paingay na ng paingay, excited sa proclamation mamaya.
Meron bang mga delays na nangyari kanina or konting aberya na nangyari kanina?
Wala naman sa mga report na pinadala nila sa atin. It's just that kinokompleto lang nila tsaka inintay lang yung oras dun sa mga machines na meron sa bawat resinto, bawat lugar na dito sa Pasig.
RG, sasakyan ko yung
Yes.
tanong ni Chiki, si Andre ulit to. Kasi kanina, mga around lunchtime, may mga aberya. There are some glitches dun sa mga machines, sa mga voting machines, kung saan kailangan daw linisan dahil hindi daw nababasa, dahil may mga alikabok. Nagkaroon din ba ng ganong aberya dyan? At kung nagkaroon man, kasi there are different voting precincts kung saan tumagal ng 10 minutes bago na-cast yung vote. May iba naman, it took hours dahil dun sa alikabok nga sa dumi ng machine. Diyan ba may na-encounter na ganyan na problema yung Pasig City?
So far, wala naman dito. Naging concern lang is yung mga mahabang pila, yung mga pag-iintay dun sa mga bawat presinto.
Okay, thank you very much for the update and mamaya siguro makakausap natin muli to get more updates. RG Mendoza. Thank you very much. Yung sinasabi ni Andre, no, na may mga alikabok dun sa machines, ang solusyon lang daw dun is to put a cleaning paper. You put it in around 3 times, a few times more, 2-3 times, tapos it will solve the problem. Kasi minsan daw kasi talagang napapasukan, di ba, ng alikabok.
Alam mo, sabi ko nga
Dusty
kanina.
tayo dito eh. Oo.
Chicks, alam mo, sabi ko nga kanina, check eh. Sabi ko, ano ba yan? Xerox machine ba yan? Sabi ko, ano ba yan? Projector ba yan? Kailangan, ba't napaka kasi, selan, di ba? Napaka-selan. It was very delicate. No, kasi kanina nga, going back, dahil around 11 a.m., 12 noon, kami nila Jess and Nikki, we're talking about it. May isang, I just can't remember right now, tumagal ng mga alos 1 hour, ang tagal yung nagantay. Meron naman 10 minutes, mabilis lang, nalinis na kagad, tapos naayos na yung machine. Pero that was, sabi ko, grabe, only in the Philippines na talagang may mga ganun ka may encounter. Pero at least, ready naman. Si Comelec, ready naman yung mga voting precincts natin for those, little hiccups here and there.
Yes.
Especially
Ayos.
dun sa mga counting machines, sa mga machines na nagloloko kanina.
Some of the little hiccups, or one of the little hiccups, no, yung balota na wala
Yes.
daw party list sa likod. Actually, during the press con of Comelec kanina, si Comelec Chairman George Garcia, and he was saying na, well, tatlo lang naman yun. It's not gonna affect the count. It's not gonna affect, there's gonna be no failure of elections just because of that. So, okay naman. Pero, still, may ganun. Bad trip yun, di ba? Kung balota mo yun.
But,
Well, hindi ako mapagboto ng party list.
As
Lalo
the
na yung mga
Comelec
senior,
was-
di ba?
As the Comelec was explaining kanina, na maraming naka-standby in case may mga problema nga, yung mga tumatawag sa mga hotline na
Yeah.
saan isasaksak to o paano ilalagay ito.
So, sundan ko na. Speaking of, dahil alam ko na kapag bumoto ka ba kanina, you did the absentee voting?
I did the absentee
You-
voting,
okay
April
ka?
28.
Were you able to vote this, kanina?
I cannot.
Ako din.
I am not allowed to be in crowded places
Hindi na yung
right
mga
now.
Okay.
Understandable. Our guests are coming in. We will talk to our guests in just a bit. Mary Mon Reyes is also on standby at our touch screen. We will go to Mary Mon later on kung saan very crucial din, chicks, check, because makikita nga natin, kasi I'm really interested to see yung ating heat maps kung saan nanalo ba. Sina Bam Aquino, sina Kiko Pangilinan, ano din yung nakuha, sina Dante Marcoleta, kung saan, yung syempre alam naman natin, yung Solid South, kung nagstay yan, and re-electionist, Senator Amy Marcos as well. Kung nakuha ba niya yung suporta ng kanilang baluarte sa Solid North, or may mga nakuha din from the Solid South. Is Mary Mon ready? If Mary Mon is ready, we can probably go to Mary Mon Reyes as of now. Konting ano lang natin. Sige, Mary Mon, let's bring in Mary Mon Reyes right now for voter turnout, mobile journal. Mary Mon Reyes is on standby. Magandang gabi, Mary Mon.
Magandang gabi sa inyo. And so far, unang disclaimer agad natin, itong makukuha natin is possibly meron siyang 15-minute delay from the Comelec. So disclaimer natin yan. Pero more or less, kung rule of thumb din naman, as of 11:19 p.m., we're already 75.45% into the Comelec partial and unofficial votes. Kaya yung iba, nagkakaroon na ng mabilis na proclamation, lalo na at the local level. Pero at the national level, ang nasabi ng Comelec dito, they're expecting within this week or within the next few days to come, magkakaroon na talaga tayo ng proclamation. Sa ngayon, pagdating dito sa transmission natin, ang data transmission natin is 75%, meaning across 93,000 na voting precincts natin, 70,000 na yung pinaka na-transmit dito. Pero isa sa pinaka gusto ko lang makita, saglit dadaanan lang natin. So, kasi bago ako umalis sa Comelec Monitoring Center sa Intramuros, naobserbahan natin yung mabagal na pag-open voting ng BARM, ng Bangsamoro Autonomous Region ng Muslim Mindanao. And I think as of 6 o'clock p.m., mga nasa 70% pa lang siya. Hindi niya pa talaga nami-meet yung around 80% ng open voting in comparison sa ibang regions na 100% tuloy-tuloy na talaga yung kanilang pagboto. Precisely dahil nagkakaroon na ng gulo sa dalawang lugar. To be specific, ito yung mga nabanggit ni Atty. Rex Del Dianco. Una sa Dato Odin Sinsuat sa Maguindanao del Norte. Kaya tingnan natin yung current na data. Ito siya. 30% pa lang. So out of 104 precincts doon sa 32 pa lang talaga yung napapasok. Though sinabi naman ng Comelec, they are keeping touch and coordinating doon sa kanila para sa mga ito. And so far, kung titingnan din natin ngayon ang ating mga senador, pasok, medyo may kagulat-gulat dito na pumasok sa top 5 kasi usually when it comes to the pulse surveys, nakita natin na etong nasa pangalawa, si Bam Aquino, ay nakapasok sa top 2. Ranking second siya with over 20 million votes. Pero itong nangunguna si Senator si Bong Go, Christopher Bong Go from PDP Laban, nangunguna siya with 25.6 million votes. Pero later on siguro lalaliman na lang natin yung pag-uusap kasi inaabangan din natin dito kung sino yung clinching sa 12 seat for the midterm elections. Kasi sa ngayon, etong sumasabi ito kumakapit pa ay si Ben Bitag Tulfo with 11.5 million votes. So far, eto muna yung meron tayo.
We will get, thank you very much,
Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes, babalikan ka namin maya-maya. Sige.
Yes, let's now head to our guest. Head on over to our guest, no? Doc Guido David, excuse me. Research Fellow, Octa Research, no? And Professor Ranjit Rai. Oo, suki din namin to dito sa aming network. Hi, good evening. First reactions muna.
Well, I'm sure Professor Ranjit has had his time to react. It's my turn. So definitely there's some surprises sa Senate race. We did say, actually we mentioned this last week, there were 5 to 6 names that we thought had high possibility of making it sa top 12, and I will say it now. I hesitate to say it masyado sa, sa on air, because I don't want people to be parang conditioned or saying na, okay, we're voting with this or not voting. But those with high probability were yung number 1, si Senator Bong Go, and then si Congressman Erwin Tulfo, who was figuring number 1 to 2 sa surveys, and then si former Senator Tito Sotto, Senator Pia Cayetano, and Senator Bato de la Rosa. And they're all in there. The 6th one that we had was si Ben Tulfo, who's he's number 13. He's not out of it yet. He has a fair chance, a possibility of making it with about 20% of votes to go. So the big surprise, of course, here, si former Senator Bam Aquino and former Senator Kiko Pangilinan figuring very high in the rankings, and also si Congressman Dante Marcoleta is also figuring high. Now, to be fair, all of those in the top 12 were in our top 20 ngayon. Sasabihin nyo, bakit ang layo? No, I mean, even for other survey companies. But in our own survey, the latest one, the top 20 that we had, we said, and we stated this, na dikit-dikit yung laban, any one of those could make it in the top 12. Any one of those names in the top 20. And in fact, those names in the top 12 were from the top 20. So in that way, hindi naman siya sablay. I mean, I'm not trying to explain the survey result, but we're saying that there is some variability.
Yeah. Prof, sorry, Prof Guido, I'll cut you, and Boss Ranjit, Prof Ranjit will go to you. We're also joined by Ronald Holmes right now, joining us via Zoom. Checky and check. Of course, Sir Holmes is also a Pulse Asia Research President, and he is also joining us. Prof Holmes is also for Political Science and Development Studies at the De La Salle University. Prof, magandang gabi. Can you hear us, Prof Ronald?
Magandang gabi o madaling araw na ba?
Ayun.
Ating
Oo.
gabi.
Ayun, full house tayo. May gusto ka ba idagdag doon, Prof. Ronald, sa sinabi ni Prof. Guido so far? Because ang pinag-uusapan nga ngayon, well, of course, Dante Marcoleta, dun sa latest SWS survey na lumabas nga, he was naglalaro sa 24, rank 24. And then even Bam Aquino was seen sa 16, 17, Kiko Pangilinan, 15 to 20. Pero ngayon, pasok yung mga binanggit kong pangalan, Senator Bam Aquino, Kiko Pangilinan, Rodante Marcoleta, pasok sa Magic 12.
Well, actually, kailangan ngayon tignan natin yung final results. And then we can try to look at it relative to the survey that we conducted. The last time was about 3 weeks ago. The other thing that we need to examine is what did the candidates do in the last 3 weeks that would make a difference, that made a difference in terms of the results. As you very well know, and I think I listened to it earlier, surveys are a snapshot. But the other thing that I think is quite noteworthy here is that, you know, people who criticize surveys for being mind conditioning are actually proven wrong. We've said this time and again, especially in this election, that we've seen rapid changes in terms of ranking and in terms of preferences among the candidates. In our April survey, we saw basically everyone declining in terms of voting support. In the last 3 surveys that we had, we saw Ben Tulfo declining significantly. So the things that have happened are not too surprising to me. I would admit that the survey may be off in terms of the ranking, in terms of the voting share, but we don't know exactly how off until we have the actual results. And as a social scientist, I would just like to study it very carefully and just say that, you know, these are things that we have to consider. What are the things that brought about differences between the survey done 3 weeks ago and the actual results that we hope to find out with finality in the next few days.
Gentlemen, now that you see the results, not the official results, partial and unofficial results is 75% pa lang, no? What message does this give us? What's the implication?
Well, if I could chime in first, the implications that the public has spoken, and you know, and they want some things changed. I think that's the implication. Another implication here, and you know, I don't want to be the first one to say it, but you know, seeing the number 2, see former Senator Bam Aquino, you know, he could be a you know, possible presidential candidate in 2028. I mean, that's not a stretch because he has a good showing here. So we're not saying that he can win, but he's, you know, he's definitely a possible presidential candidate in 2028. So I think those are some key takeaways that we see here. So the public have spoken, and you know, and it's actually a good mix of you know, administration candidates and opposition candidates. And I think the public is saying that they want to see more of a balance in our Senate. I think that's what they are saying.
Yes, Prof?
Prof. Ranjit.
Okay, so you know, I'd like to add to what Prof. Ronnie also and Prof. Guido started. That surveys have a value. 3 weeks, almost a month ago, Okta came out with its survey, and we were clear in saying that there was a big possibility that people who are not in the straight 12, up to rank 17, I think, had a very good chance. We called on, in particular, Senator Pangilinan, Rodante Marcoleta as, you know, very possible, you know, that their own rankings would change, no? And that's exactly what happened nearly a month after. So our last survey was April 20 to 24, similar to Pulse. So again, yeah, Prof. Ronnie was correct. We have to study what happened, you know. But generally, while this is partial, unofficial, you can see that this is a protest vote of some sort, no? Because you have one side, the Duterte side of the opposition, which, by the way, all surveys predicted would win. And of course, you know, at least in Okta, we were clear that Marcoleta was the big difference in our last survey, a 9 percentage point increase. So we're seeing numbers improve on his part. So that's 3, and then you have 2 other members of the traditional so-called Liberal Party, Pink Movement, So, the people have spoken. In some sense, this is the referendum that they are giving the president. No? We want change. We want a stronger opposition. Yeah, and so we're voting not your team. Basically, only 5 people likely to get in, maybe at most 6. So suboptimal to all the surveys, which are saying between 7 or 8 people are coming in. So, while it's still partial unofficial, this is the view I'm seeing. No? You have at least 5 people from the administration winning and a large portion of the opposition coming in. Even this is really the opposition, traditional, and of course the Duterte opposition. So these are the images I'm seeing now, as far as the vote is concerned.
Well, it's been mentioned over and over that Rodante Marcoleta was a dark horse, and here he is at number 6.
6 already.
And of course, the surprise with Bam and Kiko. What do you think made the difference in the last minute for these candidates?
Well, definitely the endorsements help.
INC.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it out loud, but yeah, they did endorse. In fact, most of the candidates they endorsed are in the top 12. Yeah, Pasok, except one. But Kiko didn't get the INC endorsement, as far as I'm concerned. But he did get a big endorsement from from the governor of Cebu. So those small details, and we did mention that in our interviews prior to the election, that these minute details, endorsements, political endorsements, alliances, religious endorsements, they could add up. It could add up 1% here, 1% there, 1% there. And they were all bunched up from number 9 to 20, within 6%. Parang dikit-dikit sila. So that's why it was really, very difficult to call, unlike in previous elections. But maybe the surveys didn't capture the public sentiment of that they wanted change, and now we're seeing it.
You earlier said na parang protest vote ito, people want change. Do you see this heralding a shift in our political landscape?
I think it's in a sense, you have now a strong opposition in the Senate, no? Especially now you have a lawyer like Congressman Dante Marcoleta, who I'm sure is going to make a very good make good opportunity of him becoming a senator there. It will be most likely be one of the active voices against the administration. My sense is, just to add to the earlier question, the campaigning also did help. Our surveys were nearly a month old, so a lot happened. To a great extent, we also have to pat on the back the Filipino people, because they, it wasn't just command votes. When you look at Bam and Kiko's vote, there's a movement, that's silence, this pink movement, but whatever that movement is, they delivered. And they delivered very big, So it's a confluence of many factors. Command, the campaign, the quality of the campaign towards a stretch, okay, the kinds of negotiations that happen. But really, it's the Filipino people speaking through the electoral results. And so this is partly probably why how we could explain what has happened.
Prof. Ranjit, sorry to cut you. Prof.
Yes.
Guido, we have a guest check. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. We are now joined by incumbent Pasig City Mayor Vico Sotto. Congratulations, Mayor Vico.
Hi, ma'am. Magandang gabi po. Maraming salamat sa inyo.
Mayor, Andre Felix po ito. Congratulations po, Congratulations muli as early
Yes, hi. Hi, Sir Andre, Ma'am Shiki. Kamusta po? Maraming salamat,
Una sa lahat, congratulations. Salamat sa oras ninyo, Mayor. Pero yung initial reactions niyo, Mayor, dahil alam naman natin, pinagpalad ka to be on your third term, yung tiwala sa'yo ng mga citizens ng Pasig. Your initial thoughts, alam natin na hindi pa naman tapos. Pero so far, masasabi mo na ba na makakatulog ka na ng mahimbing ngayong gabi?
Well, we're currently waiting for the proclamation siguro pag naka 95% ay pwede lang mag-proclamation. I feel very thankful, feel blessed to have this opportunity. So, maraming salamat sa lahat ng Pasigenyo na nagtiwala sa akin at sa buong team ng Giting ng Pasig.
Mayor, gusto ko lang tanungin dahil alam naman natin, for the longest time, bago ka umupo dito sa mayor, sa mayoral sa Pasig, naging dynasty pa nga ito di ba? Eusebios, exactly. Ngayon, you're forming your own dynasty yourself, meaning this is your third term. Kinabahan ka ba ng bahagya dito sa naging takbo ng kampanya ng elections, especially for this particular one with the opposition? Dahil a lot has been said from the opposition, from sa Diskaya's party.
Well, first of all, definitely not forming a dynasty. There's never been any family member of mine who has run in Pasig, and there will probably never be a family member of mine, at least not immediate family, who will run here in Pasig. But again, we're very thankful for maganda yung resulta. At kung yung tanong niyo po, kami naman, basta we try to do our best every single day, and hopefully the results will reflect that.
Mayor Vico, si Chicky Verhelto, actually kasama rin namin dito, no? Si Professor Ranjit Rai and si Professor Guido David. And I guess one of them would like to ask you a question as well.
Okay,
Yes, go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Mayor Vico, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you po.
Ranjit and Guido from Octa Research and also from UP. Siguro, ang tanong ko lang is, now that we are just waiting for the proclamation and it was a resounding victory, baka may mga top 3 priorities ka na gustong agad-agad, no? Because of your going around Pasig, siguro narinig mo rin o bago mga narinig mong mga issues na gusto mong bigyan ng priority now in your term, no? New term as mayor of your city. Congratulations again.
Thank you, sir. Sir Randy, maraming salamat po. Pero sa totoo, wala naman kaming nakuhang bago dahil sa campaign. Kasi sa totoo, mula 2022, the day after elections, araw-araw na po ako nag-iikot sa Pasig. So, we're very much in touch with what the Pasigeños want or what they need. And pagpapatuloy po namin at paiigtingin pa yung mga nasimulan na, lalo na yung mga pagbabago at reformang nasimulan na. So the number one focus in the next 3 years will be institutionalizing the changes and the reforms that we've done, especially with regard to transparency, openness of our government, the procurement reforms, because this leads to better projects, better services. So yung pangalawa will still be healthcare. Third will still be education. So, as boring as it may sound, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but we'll make sure that we do even better in the next 3 years.
Grabe pala yung no? Sige,
Professor Guido,
Professor
you have a
Guido.
question?
Yeah, well, just want to add, Mayor, congratulations also from Guido David. And, we look forward to your continued public service. Meron akong office sa Pasig. So I hope yung mga business permits will still be smooth flowing as usual.
Yes, actually we've really done a lot in terms of ease of doing business, anti-red tape. I know it's still not perfect. Minsan may mga nahuli pa rin kami. Minsan may nakikita kami ng kailangan pang i-streamline. Pero tingin ko kung, lalo na para dun sa mga nagnenegosyo sa Pasig na sabihin natin ilang taon na, o pre-2019, siguro karamihan, hindi man lahat, ng karamihan magsasabi siguro na napaganda kahit pa paano yung proseso. We're very proud. Ito, sa totoo, pag sinasabi kong we're proud, hindi na ito achievement ko lang . Kasi sa totoo, maliit lang yung part ko dito. Mas malaki yung part ng City Administrator's Office, BPLD. Kaya yung most business-friendly award namin the other year, not that year, but the other year, in our consistent improvements, I think it's a reflection of that. So credit to our staff, credit to our City Council, and hopefully we'll do, again, as I said earlier, we'll try our best to do even better in the next 3 years.
Mayor Andre Felix Polet, may tanong ako, Mayor, again, thank you for your time. Before we let you go, before we get more questions, kung may tatanong pa si Chiquis Check, also Prof. Ranjit and Prof. Guido. Gusto ko tanungin, Mayor, kasi you're cruising to your historic third term here as the final votes are being tallied. But 3 days ago, ang daming mga nangyari 3 days before the elections. May ex-City Hall employee na nag-file ng petition to disqualify you over alleged vote buying involving the distribution of cash allowances for scholars. Pero ikaw, you seem unfazed. Did that somewhat bother you, especially 3 days before the elections? Dikit, and then may mga lumalabas na ganun, Mayor.
Not really. Alam niyo, 1 taon na kami hinaharas ng mga to. Lahat na ng pwedeng ibato, lahat ng pwedeng gawin. Mula sa kung ano-anong harassment suits, frivolous lawsuits, hanggang sa troll farm, hanggang sa Vietnamese Facebook accounts, lahat na nagkakaiba tong laban na to kasi lahat pinagdaanan namin, lahat sinubukan nilang gawin, lahat ng kalokohan na maisip mo, ginawa nila. Pero okay naman po kami. Nalagpasan natin lahat ng mga pagsubok na ito. At ang pinaka-importante, inasabi ng tao na naniniwala sila na dapat ipagpatuloy itong mga pagbabago at reforma na nasimulan. At I think it's a hello. Sorry, medyo mahina po yung signal dito. Hindi ko alam kung naririnig niyo ba po.
Malinaw po.
Mayor, we can hear you perfectly clear, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I think the results of this election really shows that the people, the people like the changes that they've seen in the city, and they want us to continue. So again, maraming salamat sa mga Pasigenyo.
Mayor, may tanong po si Cheska.
Mayor, this is Cheska Liton-Calao. As Andre mentioned, yun na nga, maraming mga nabato sa'yo. But to every issue that was thrown at you, you had an immediate and no-nonsense answer. Sa mga issues na binabato sa'yo, sa lahat ng mga na-disprove nyo, what else can we look forward to in terms of your no-nonsense approach when it comes to taking care of Pasig?
Ako naman, basta magtatrabaho ako, I'll do the best that I can every single day, every single minute. And Diyos nang bahala sa lahat. Diba? Gawin natin ang lahat ng mga kaya natin. Yun lang naman.
Mayor, this is tricky, no? Actually, dun sa minention mo, yung mga priorities mo, part of it was education, part of it was healthcare. Sinabi ng kampo ni Sara Diskaya na, well, yes, you're good, parang may transparency, pero hindi mo na-address yung healthcare and also education. But obviously, the people of Pasig have spoken. How are you celebrating? Alam ko, you said earlier, no, na 90%, antayin mo yung mga 90%, but come on, proclaim na po kayo, Mayor of Pasig. Very, very far
Pwede ka na
behind.
mag-celebrate,
si
Mayor.
Senator.
Yun ang gusto sabihin ni
Pwede
Chiki.
na daw matulog.
Yes.
Salamat.
How
But
are you
of
celebrating,
course, we
Mayor?
have to wait for the official proclamation of COMELEC. So nandito po kami ngayon sa Rizal High School, nag-aantay lang ng official proclamation. And as you said, malinaw na malinaw yung sinasabi ng Pasigenyo. Malinaw ang tinig ng mga Pasigenyo ngayon na naramdaman nila yung mga ginawa sa, hindi lang yung sa paggugobyerno, yung sa style, yung sa pagtataguyod ng mga prinsipyo ng mabuting paggugobyerno, good governance. But really, what we're showing is that transparency, that good governance works, and it translates to better programs, projects, and services. For healthcare, we have anyway, siguro it's not the time to go into details. Pero siguro malinaw na malinaw yung sinasabi ng Pasigenyo na alam niyo, kung di naman nila naramdaman yung trabaho sa healthcare, sa education, kung di nila naramdaman yung ginawa ng gobyerno nila, siguro iba yung resulta po ngayon. So it's just, I think the results will speak for itself.
Serious talaga si Mayor Vico. Mukhang no plans of celebrating.
Mayor,
Sabi ko sa'yo, no nonsense eh.
No nonsense talaga.
Mayor, hating gabi na eh. 6:30 ceremony po kami.
Mayor, alam kong pagod ka na, alas 12 na nga as you mentioned, hating gabi na. Si Prof. Guido David ng Okta, may tatanong pa yata ulit sa'yo. Prof. Guido, go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
Last
Go ahead,
question. Yes, sorry, Mayor. Last question lang. Now that you're on your third term, so what are your plans for 2028? Baka may
Wala pa.
wala pa. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Hindi, wala talaga. Hindi, wala pa. Wala talaga.
Wala talaga.
So, Mayor,
alam ko yung mga ganyan. Kahit ano naman sagutin ko, hindi kayo maniniwala. Pero basta ako, wala.
Mayor, ang gustong tanongin ni Prof. Guido, basically kasi ngayon, historic third term ka, grabe yung tiwala sa'yo ng tao. Are you already looking far ahead? Alam kong malayo pa, 3 taon pa, but are you looking far ahead? Are you talking to your team? Kinakausap mo na ba na, okay, we're eyeing probably Congress, eyeing probably Senate. Are you looking that far o hindi muna?
Well, yes, actually, I'm looking very far. 6:30 a.m., meron po kaming flag raising ceremony. So that's 6.5 hours from now. That's pretty far ahead in the future. Only God knows. But ako, sa totoo, ang focus ko this term, of course, the programs, projects, the services, whether healthcare, education, social services, syempre nandyan po yan, yung pang-araw-araw na trabaho. Pero ang importante po sa akin ngayon, na kung ano yung mga napagtagumpayan na pagbabago at reforma in the last 6 years, and kung ano pa yung magagawa in the next 3 years, kailangan ma-institutionalize, kailangan pagkatapos ng term ko dito sa Pasig, 2028, sa aming LGU, mas madali nang maging mabuti, mas madali nang gumawa ng tama, at mas mahirap nang maging corrupt. Yun lang. It's not about the position. It's not about running for whatever office, or mayor, congressman, or what. Hindi yun importante sa akin eh. What's important is the institutionalizing what we have started, what we have done, and equally important is to develop the next generation of leaders here in Pasig.
Yun naman yung importante. Mayor, last na lang. Alam kong very busy ka. Salamat muli sa oras mo. Mabilisan lang. Nakausap mo na ba si Bossing Vic Sotto, your father, Mommy Connie, and also yung mensahe mo sa mga Pasigueño na patuloy na nagtitiwala, of course, voting for you and in a landslide for your historical third term sa Pasig City as their mayor. Go ahead, Mayor Vico.
Well, first of all, I thank God. Second, my family who have been very supportive. Nanay, tatay ko, sobrang supportive mula't simula. And of course, my siblings, all of my family members. Third, the entire Giting ng Pasig team, from Congressman Roman, Vice Mayor Dodot, our councilors, their families as well, our supporters. At pag sinabi namin Giting ng Pasig, buong lahat, the supporters, everyone who voted, all Pasigueños, talagang team effort. Yung mga ginawa na pagbabago dito, pag-dinis ng LGU, hindi naman naging biro mula umpisa. Pero nagagawa. I'm so thankful for the trust, thankful for the opportunity to lead, and of course, thankful for a fresh mandate.
Okay, maraming salamat for your time and congratulations again, Vico Sotto. Excuse me, Mayor Vico Sotto.
Maraming salamat muli, Mayor. We'll see you soon. Thank you, Mayor Vico
salamat
Sotto.
sa inyo.
Kaya ako sinanong si Mayor kanina how he's celebrating because Senator Bato de la Rosa, nagpainom na eh.
Nagpainom na. Kanina pa kasi, nung I was listening, kausap kanina, nila Bok Ed, nila Regina, Sean, and ni Ces, and nakausap din nila Jiggy, nila Julius, and ni Gretchen sa News 5. Sabi niya, Sabi kasi, sabi ni Gretchen ba, parang, Sen, pwede ka na matulog ng mahimbing. Sabi ni Sen Bato, alam naman natin dito sa Pilipinas, pag natutulog, pag gising, pwede magbago pa. Sabi, ayoko pag gising ko, number 3, magkakaroon ng 1, maging number 13 siya. So sabi na, antayin muna natin matapos. At that time, mga parang 70% pa lang. Tanungin ko lang silang dalawa, once again, nagulat pa ba kayo sa sitwasyon dun sa nangyari sa Pasig? Of course, we just spoke to on his third term. Nagnanad na ng no si Prof. Ranjit. Prof. Guido, ganun din, wala nang gulat-gulat.
No surprises there.
No surprises.
Alam ko
All
na
our
medyo
local surveys were saying that was
Yes. And si Mayor Vico, medyo nagpaka-safe with his answer. Tama nga naman. He's looking as far as 6:30 in the morning tomorrow with the flag raising ceremony sa Pasig.
that's as far as it's looking.
Pero
Not
kayo,
2028.
where do you see it come 2028 or malayo pa?
Yes, young. I think he has to end his local government.
Binanggit nga natin, when we're talking about the, kanina, nung 11 o'clock, nung 75% po yung pupasok na votes, so far walang movement from 1 hanggang 10. But, kanina, number 11, si re-election ni Senator Amy Marcos, makikita po natin ngayon, nagkapalit, nagkaroon ng switch, humabol, with 76.98% partial and unofficial votes as of 11:54 based from COMELEC. Ito po makikita natin, nag-number 11, si Lito Lapid, nag-number 12. Pasok pa rin sa top 12 but barely clinging on. Ang lamang naman ni re-electionist Senator Amy Marcos kay Ben Tulfo, makikita natin 1.2 million votes. Your reactions to that so far? Prof. Guido, let's go to you.
Yeah, well, 76% of COMELEC unofficial results. That means there's still about maybe 10 million votes left to count. So it's still going to be very tight sa number 9, maybe 10, 11, 12. There could still be some changes. Last time, noong 2022, there were some small changes, 10, 11, 12. But right now, I think 1 to 9 is, they're in a good place. Wala pa akong gina-guarantee. We haven't proclaimed anyone yet. But yun nga, it could be, well, there's still a 1.2 million separation with number 13, Ben Tulfo. But it's getting a little close.
Prof. Guido, Prof. Ranjit, Check, and Chicky, alam naman natin yung mga top 1 to 10, kahit yung sa surveys, medyo naging solid yan. Pero ang nagbabago nga actually, medyo surprising nga din kasi even si Pacman, Manny Pacquiao, tuluyan na laglag. Pero nakikita natin sa mga ibang surveys, naglalaro sa 10 to 12 to 13. May mga changes ba kayo nakikita, Prof. Ranjit? Do you expect any changes, especially in this crucial dito sa 10, 11, 12 hanggang 15?
The whole election cycle showed that, we need to do more surveys, up closer to the elections to get an accurate picture. Octa's, I can only talk about Octa's last survey was April 20 to 24. And what do we see? Nagbago. Yung 1 to 10 namin nagbago. And there were some major upsets. For example, we didn't expect Bong Revilla to be where he is now. Neither do we expect Ben Tulfo or even Abby Binay to be where they are now. So these three in particular were the big change from our survey. So we're talking about change. Yes, it could happen. The surveys are not a crystal ball, But this is the actual vote. So what are we seeing? It's a tight race for 11, 12, okay, and a million votes. Now the key question here is, if we go to Region 4A, what do we, on the board, may natitira pa bang boto? Because that will decide.
Prof. Ranjit, babalikan kita. Pasensya na po. I will stop because right now, chicks, we have someone on the line.
We do. We actually have on the line incumbent Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte. Grabe, pangalawang congratulations. Congratulations, Mayor Joy. This is Chicky. I'm with Andre and Cheska Litan, and I'm also with Professor Ranjit Rai and Professor Guido David. Congratulations from all of us here. First statements po sa win po ninyo.
Thank you, Chicky and Andre and Cheska, and of course to our friends from Octa Research. I'm overwhelmed with happiness and gratitude to the people of Quezon City for this new mandate that they have given to me. And I didn't expect the number of votes that I received. It's quite high compared to what I had expected. So really, it's a wonderful day for me. And of course, I'm raring to get started with work because I'd really like to make sure that the people are happy with the decision to give me another chance of serving the people of Quezon City.
You said you did not expect the high number of votes. You didn't expect it to be this high, or talagang hindi kayo nag-expect na manalo?
Well, I guess nag-expect up naman ako na manalo ako this time, no? Because although I had 4 opponents, hindi sila nangangampanya masyado. So I was expecting to win, but I did not expect the overwhelming mandate because usually kapag halimbawa tingin ng mga tao mananalo naman si Mayora or wala naman mabigat na kalaban, some of them will opt not to vote or will opt not to shade your name anymore. Parang ganon, tinatake ka for granted. But the fact that people took the time to really shade your name, to really tell them that they are for you, is for me something very touching, and I did not expect that.
Mayor Joy, let's talk about your experience on the other side of the fence. We're seeing photos of you with your ballot. We know you voted earlier at your precinct. Could you talk about your personal voting experience earlier?
Well, ako naman, no, Chiki, Andre and Cheska, I did not have a difficult process or experience. It was actually very pleasant. Napakabilis niya. Ilang minutes lang tapos na ako. And I really followed. Hindi po ako nabigyan ng special treatment or anything. I fell in line. I looked for my precinct. And I did everything according to what was taught to us. And very pleasant naman yung experience ko. Yung mga na-experience ng iba na matagal sila naghintay o kaya yung machine hindi sinusuka yung kanilang balot, hindi po namin na-experience yun.
Mayor Andre Felix po ito. Congratulations again, Mayor Joy. Historic third term again. Kanina nakausap namin, also re-electionist and on his third term, historic Mayor Vico Sotto ng Pasig City. So I will be asking you the same questions pretty much that I asked. Nagulat ka ba? Sabi mo nga medyo nagulat ka. May ka ba on your part? And at the same time, ano yung mga programa na pwedeng maasahan ulit in the next 3 years na maasahan ng mga nagtitiwala po sa inyo dyan po sa Quezon City, Mayor Joy?
Well, alam mo, Andre, that you mentioned Mayor Vico Sotto, I would like to congratulate him kasi we belong to the same group. We're called the Mayors for Good Governance.
Correct.
Along with Mayor Benji Magalong of Baguio City, who I understand also won this election. And I think that, first of all, our victories show that the people of the Philippines are ready for good governance advocates like us. And certainly, we will continue with that advocacy. We will continue to show na sa pamamagitan ng maayos at tapat na pangangasiwa ng kabanambayan, we can give better services to our people. So having said that, of course, I will continue with my advocacy for the environment and for gender equality. Yan, personal yan. Pero yung mga serbisyo, sabi ko nga, dodoblehin natin ang bilang ng mga scholars natin because education is very important to me. Healthcare as well. We will make efforts talaga na ma-enroll yung ating mga few citizens sa PhilHealth consulta package para makatanggap sila ng free consultations. And then, of course, yung problema ng pabahay. Yun, malaki yun. We have over 200,000 informal sector families in Quezon City. And I would really like to make a dent dito sa suliranin ng katiyakan ng paninirahan. At dito talaga tayo magko-concentrate sa darating na 3 taon natin.
Okay. Mayor Joy, si Professor Ranjit Rai nandito din. May tanong sa'yo, of course, President of Octa Research. Prof. Ranjit, go ahead.
Yeah, Mayor Joy, congratulations from
Hi,
Octa
Prof.
Research. Yeah, and I'm here with Professor Guido David. You know, Octa and Quezon City have been partners since the time of COVID, and we're extremely happy that because of your impending win, and you know, a lot of people from Quezon City, including myself, have been very supportive of your administration. And looking forward to your next administration, I really want to zero in, maybe give you more time to talk about the Pabahay program, actually, and how you're going to continue, number 2, improving services at Quezon City Hall, lalo with your drive toward digitalization, the use of information systems. I'd like to give you some time to even talk about this, and of course, on behalf of Octa, to congratulate you also.
Thank you. So, hi to Prof. Ranjit and Prof. Guido. So, like you said, we really concentrated in our last 2 terms towards digitalization and automation because that, for me, are really imperative if we're going to implement good governance. Kailangan talaga mabilis, convenient, at maasahan yung servisyon para sa mga taong bayan. So, having said that, through online services, all social services can be available to the people. No, so ngayon, for example, kung gusto mo mag-apply for a scholarship o kahit na medical assistance o kahit puhunan, lahat po yan ay pwede nang gawin online. No? So almost 100% of services in Quezon City can be accessed online. No? So that's something that we're very proud of Bukod dyan, nagtayo rin po tayo ng mga mini city halls. As you know, our city is very, very big. At ayaw po natin ma-centralize lahat sa main. So ginawa po natin ay nagtayo na po tayo ng 6 separate district offices kung saan lahat ng servisyo ng lungsod ay available din para sa mga mamamayan na hindi naman sila bihasa sa online at may gusto silang kausap na tao na face-to-face pero ayaw na nilang pumunta pa at pumila dun sa main city hall. So we have also decentralized our services for the people. No? Yung pangatlo, yung sinabi natin pabahay, that's something very close to my heart. No? Kasi talagang napakahalaga na magkaroon ng katiyakan ng paninirahan ng mga tao. Yan ang simula ng kanilang pag-unlad. And we have three methodologies for achieving this. Una is yung mga hindi nagbabayad ng amilyar na mga private landowners. Sinatransfer na namin yung title sa city para ma-award sa mga tao through the direct sale program. O kaya naman yung mga private sector owners na gusto na rin ibenta yung kanilang lupa dahil tinitirahan na ng mga ISF families ay binibili ng lungsod at sa murang halaga para pwede rin natin ibenta sa mga nakatira dyan sa abot-kayang halaga through the direct sale program. Another thing we're doing is land that is owned already by the city. Tinatayuan din natin ng mga condominium units, mga vertical housing structures for rent naman ito sa halagang 800 pesos lamang para accessible po ang pabahay natin sa lahat ng mga mamamayan, lalong-lalo na yung pinakamahihirap po.
Thank you, Mayor Joy.
Thank you. Mayor, last na po, may huling katanungan po si Professor Guido David from Octa. Go ahead, Professor Guido, go.
Yes, of course, Mayor Joy, congratulations also from Professor Guido David and Professor Ranjit Rai. May quick question lang ako. You mentioned that you are a member of the Mayors for Good Governance, and so is Mayor Vico and Mayor Magalong, who both look like they won. So, do you think this shows na, particularly since about 57% of the voters are younger, parang Gen Z and millennials, do you think the younger voters are showing more maturity dito sa election na ito?
Yes, I think definitely. Even the results of the senatorial elections, although as I heard, hindi pa siya final, and yet the fact that Senator Bam Aquino is up there. At dito sa Quezon City, actually si Heidi Mendoza also made it sa top 12 namin sa Quezon City, along with Senator Vico Pangilinan, and other unexpected candidates. Shows, I think for me, that the Gen Z voters are probably more discerning, are probably a little bit more idealistic, and are probably ready for change. And probably are looking for something different, reforms perhaps in governance.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right. Maraming salamat and congratulations again, Quezon City Mayor Joy Belmonte.
So far, so good. 2-4-2 tayo.
2-4-2.
Oo. Maraming salamat, Mayor Joy. Thank you. Sabi nga, Mayor on Good Governance, di ba? Si Benji Magalong na lang, kulang natin para
trifecta
na tayo. Oo. But for now, okay. So nawala pala sa Zoom si Professor Ronald Holmes, of course, of Pulse Asia. Check.
All right, well, we are going to take a quick break. Please don't go away. One News Bilang Pilipino 2025 special coverage. We'll be right back.
Bilang Pilipino.
welcome back. You're still tuned in to Bilang Pilipino 2025. One News' 31-hour non-stop coverage of the midterm elections.
Alas 12:30 na.
Alas
Good morning.
12:30 na pala. Oh, good morning na pala.
Luzon,
Oo.
Visayas, Mindanao, sa ating mga kababayan. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, of course, on One News, 1PH. Marami pong salamat sa inyo.
Yeah, we're still joined by Professor Ranjit Rai and Professor Guido David of Octa Research. I meant to ask, kasi kanina
Kasama din natin si
napag-usap...
Professor Arjan Aguirre.
Ay, hi.
Kasama din natin si Professor Arjan Aguirre via Zoom naman.
Via
There he
Zoom,
is.
ayan. Okay.
Maraming salamat, Professor Arjan. Good evening.
Yes, so...
Thank you for joining us.
We were talking off-air na yung mga celebrities, like for example, Bong Revilla, wala na dyan. Senator Manny Pacquiao, wala din dyan. What's going on?
Yeah, what's going on?
Expected, kasi dati, expected na, Bong Revilla, pasok na yan. Senator Manny Pacquiao, pasok na yan.
Yeah.
What
I
happened?
guess the Filipino voter is getting more and more mature. And we have a vote, a context where there's so much information, also misinformation. A lot of our voters have been informed, no, that they need to vote, take this vote seriously. We don't know what the turnout is, yeah. But I think there's a rejection of the candidate that's not prepared to be in the Senate. At least that's what we're seeing, no. Philip Salvador was knocking at the door,
Right.
in March, you have
Si
Willie Revilla.
yun nga, si Willie Revilla
Yeah.
gusto ko banggitin. Dahil kanina, mga nung around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, nasa number 22 siya eh.
Yeah.
So ngayon, pero doon sa mga surveys na kahit yung mga labas sa SWS,
Kahit
labas
sa
din,
amin, kahit
kahit
sa
sa inyo ha, pasok siya, naglalago sa top 12.
In fact, he was there was some momentum on his side. Although the numbers were going down, but towards April, he was number 13, 14.
Your April 20 to 24 survey had him at 9 to 20,
Yeah,
actually.
9 to 20, but on the straight.
30.4%.
Yeah, on the straight, counting to 12, he was, I think, number 13, 14. So he was very strong towards the end, but it was a month ago. So people have to understand, at least in our particular survey, it was done almost a month ago. And so much campaigning has happened. No? Others picked up, notably Bam Aquino and Kiko Pangilinan. And our voters really, I think, thought this through. No? When you look at the top 8, they're really seasoned politicians. No? So, I don't know.
Franjit, papasagutin natin dahil kasama natin si Assistant Professor Aguirre, si Arjan Aguirre, also from the Ateneo de Manila University. There he is, live via Zoom, joining us right now. So, Prof, we want to get your thoughts on of course, the being talked about now, although syempre di pa tapos ang ating canvassing, na around 75%, 80% pa rin po ang transmittal percentage. Pero your thoughts so far, especially the senatorial race dito sa midterm elections natin, sa yung pumasok nga sa top 12 at yung pinapakita natin hanggang 1 to 15.
Well, surprising results. So that's number one. Again, as I have mentioned early this morning, I was expecting na, yun nga, 552 yung lalabas. But again, I did not expect na ganito yung ranking. And my initial thought is, yun nga, perhaps yung undecided na voters, mukhang nag-respond sila. Kasi kung titingnan natin yung mga ibang survey firms din, yung fill-up rate, yung parang nakita kong factor eh. Kasi yung, for example, sa Pulse Asia, yung fill-up rate nung April, month of April, ay nasa 8 lang eh. So, ibig sabihin, merong, alam mo yan, 4 siguro na hindi binoboto yung mga respondents nila. So, ako, yun yung parang nakita ko rin na factor. Marahil yung 4 na hindi nila binabanggit sa mga responses nila sa survey, mukhang binoto nila itong mga pangalan na nakikita natin na namamayagpag. For example, sila Senator Bam, tapos sila Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Again, yung mga ibang survey firms, yan nga, sa Octa rin, mukhang hindi sila ganun nagtatap, pero this time nagtap. So, yun yung aking initial thought dito na surprising, but again, meron pwede tayo makuwang explanation dito na yun nga, yung fill-up rate mababa at mukhang nag-decide later on yung mga tao. And siguro yung number 2 dito, pwede natin sabihin na if you're going to look at the names of the people who are likely to win, again, marahil yung mga Duterte allies, yung parang nag-gain dito sa itong election day na to. So, I'd like to highlight yun nga, yung sila Marcoleta, tapos makita natin yung ibang mga alyansa names nawala. So, nawawala sila ngayon. So, again, I'll stick to, yun nga yung point ko kanina umaga rin na yung threshold na 14.6, yun yung parang tinitingnan ko na 14.6 million, yung tinitingnan ko ano, yung number of votes na kung na-reach na ito ay mukhang makakapasok sila. So far, yun nga, mukhang mag-aaway-aaway dyan sa last 3 places. Yun nga, yung 10, 11, 12, ay yung nandito sa baba, mga alyansa, ano sila, candidates.
Prof. Arjan, may gusto lang ako idagdaga dahil yung dalawang Tulfo, dahil sa surveys, si Ben was part of the top 10, top 12. This is not the first time we're seeing this kasi kahit naman dati nung, remember the Jinggoy, JV Estrada, di ba? May nalaglag din. At ito naman, dito in this situation, Ben, of course, we know is independent. Tapos si Erwin, may makinarya dahil sa alyansa. Malaking bagay ba na si Ben nag-independent, hindi, unlike Erwin who's part of a big party, na may makinarya, there's that big machinery that we've been hearing that term, yung machinery that's supporting behind Erwin Tulfo?
Yeah, perhaps I'd like to point out here na yung mismong party rin ni Erwin Tulfo. Don't forget, he's also a party list congressman. So again, marahil naging factor din sa pagkapasok niya despite na identified siya with the alyansa. And again, the Tulfo brand. So mukhang talagang nagamit ito ng maayos. So si Ben Tulfo, kung titingnan mo, yes, Tulfo siya, popular din, media personality, but kung titingnan mo yung kanyang naging trajectory, late na rin siya pumasok sa race. Kumbaga, kumpara kay Erwin na simulat sa pool, alam na natin na mukhang tatakbo siya. Si Ben later on, nag-decide, tapos nag-independent pa. So, perhaps yun yung parang explanation kung bakit sa dalawang magkapatid, mukhang si Erwin yung namamayagpag, tapos si Ben mukhang nahihirapan umangat.
Right. Well, we've talked about, endorsements, machinery, and all that, but can we touch on social media and the internet and the role that it has played in this particular elections as compared to 2022?
Let me take that one first and then see Professor Ranjit. But in our own survey, when we ask about, their sources of information, 50% of respondents say TV and radio, traditional media, is their primary source of information. But 40% say Facebook. So although TV is still the dominant media source of information, 40% use social media. So social media marketing is now definitely a major component of political campaigns. So we saw that naman many years ago with the rise of Dr. Willie Ong, for example, who used primarily a social media campaign. But now it's a lot more mature than that. And we know that yung mga Gen Zs, millennials, they use social media more than siguro our generation, at least my
Gen X.
yes. So definitely this is a factor na sometimes maybe it's not so visible or evident sa mga polling results, but yeah.
I'd like to build on that. So social media is a big factor in this new campaign. I want to go back to what Arjan was saying earlier. I agree, the fill-up rate, even in Octa, it was around 5 to 7 names. In certain places like NCR, it went up to 8, at certain times. But not everybody, when you say fill-up rate, this talks about voter behavior when they fill out the ballots, So they're either strategically voting. When you look at Mindanao, we found that the top 5 were really PDP. So they were voting straight PDP there in certain areas. And then in certain areas up north, you were seeing a lot of Alianza votes also. But by and large, Filipinos were not filling up their ballots. They were strategically voting. They were thinking about their vote. Okay. But number 2, and we also found this in the survey, 20% of our voters will only decide on the day of the voting. So this is what you're seeing in a sense, this kind of volatility, these changes, that you see in the ranks now. And again, social media campaigning played a key role.
Ano yung demographics? What composes the 20% of voters na last minute?
We still haven't studied.
Yeah, it's across different ages din naman. But yeah, and I think even another 20% decide on the week before the election. So that's almost half who are deciding, after the surveys have been completed 1 month ago. So definitely, you know, we're not
Crystal ball.
Yeah, you know, surveys by our disclaimers are a snapshot, and they were as of 1 month ago, but and there were a lot of changes that we don't foresee. So social media endorsements, yeah, as everything we mentioned, and then the youth vote. We expected normally we expect a lower turnout of the youth vote, the Gen Zs and the millennials. So who knows? We haven't looked at the data, but maybe there's a higher turnout because maybe they have decided now we want some changes and we want to, you know, exercise our democracy to make our voices heard. Now this is what we want.
Prof. Ranjit, Prof. Guido, we'll take a pause muna tayo. Diyan muna kayo. Relax lang. Do you have your water, coffee?
Yeah.
Stay with us. Dahil hanggang alas 2 pa tayo dito, ha? Prof. Arjan Aguirre also joining us via Zoom. He is a professor at the Ateneo de Manila University. It is already 12:43 in the morning. Let's bring back in mobile journalist Merrimon Reyes to our conversation. Merrimon, right now we're looking at you just a touch screen. The data transmission progress, give us an update, and at the same time, nakita ko din at may balita ka sa amin with regards also sa party list. Go ahead.
So far, wala pa tayong nakikitang movements pagdating sa progress talaga ng transmission of votes. We're still at the 75 mark, 78%, which means 73,000 out of the 93 presidents ang nakapag-transmit na ng kanilang votes. Pero aside from the senatorial race, people are also looking out sa party list who will be filling in the seats sa House of Representatives. And as of this time, ito ang nakikita nating mga nangunguna who maybe, actually nalagpasan na nila yung minimum of 2% ng total votes. So chances are mga 2 seats na or more, but not more than 3 seats ang makukuha ng mga party list na ito. On the front runners, ang Akbayan with over 2.7 million votes, followed by Duterte Youth, 2.2 million votes, Tingog, 1.7 million votes, followed by 4Ps, ACT-CIS, and Ako Bico. So far, itong 6 doon sa 156 party lists, yung nakita nating nalagpasan, hindi lang na-meet yung 2% na vote from the total vote, nalagpasan nila kasi naging minimum na nga dito ng Ako Bico is 2.42%. Pero bukod naman dito, iba pa sa mga inaabangan ng mga tao ay ilan sa mga naglalabanan sa Kamaynilaan. Marami na tayo nga na-congratulate so far pagdating sa local elections. Pero iba pa sa mga inaantabayanan ng tao, for example, sa City of Manila, kung saan merong nagtunggali na dating magkakampi. Pero as of this time, nakita natin na nangunguna na, medyo malayo-layo na yung margin nilang dalawa. Si former Manila Mayor Isko Moreno Dumagoso with 561,099 votes, followed by supposedly the incumbent Manila Mayor Hani Lacuna Pangan with 197,747 votes. So far, sila itong, kung titingnan na natin yung mga sumunod sa kanila, si Sam Versosa, 171,000 votes, and for the other mayoral candidates, somehow, meron naman din nagtiwala sa kanila at they push their votes to them. Bukod
Mga
naman
prof,
dito.
sorry Berman, mga prof, safe to say na Mayor Isko na to ng Manila at this point?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a done deal 6 months ago, but you know, the voting only happened today. And so I think in Manila there was so much consensus already around one candidate. And that's what you're seeing now. No? What interesting, if you could, is the vice mayor. The vice mayor is of Manila. Yeah, just go up na lang. Yeah, just flip up lang yan.
Papakita natin.
The interesting part of this race, a little more for the vice mayor. Yeah,
up
flip
pa.
up lang.
Scroll up.
Yeah, Atienza. She wasn't doing too well in the surveys, but obviously the Isko effect and massive campaigning. Now she's leading the incumbent, leading against the incumbent vice mayor. Now, if we go down, maybe we'll check on the congressional.
Scroll
Because
up
remember,
ulit.
VP Sara Duterte
Yon.
visited
There.
Manila primarily to campaign against Lakas members who were part of the Quadcom. So let's see, Ernix Junicio, okay, so that's Lakas, who's doing well. Next member, District 2, Valeriano is doing...
Let's scroll up.
Yeah, it's close. It's still close. Yeah, this is the big fight. Joel Chua versus Apple Nieto.
Yeah,
This is, VP Sara
Actually,
campaigned in Manila
dito
just to...
dito yung tight race.
Ito
Dito
yung
yung
tight
tight
race.
race, yung between Joel Chua and Apple
Apple
Nieto
Nieto.
dito sa House of Representatives, dito
Sa
sa
third
3rd
district.
District
So
sa Manila.
this is too close to call, no? Still, no? And yeah. But another thing is District 5, if you can look at that. Yeah, District 5, yeah. This is also a tight race. Tama, no? Yeah.
Oo,
This is
dikit din to.
the Action Democratico Action candidate, Amado Bagatsing, is going for a comeback. Last is, of course, Benny Abante. This is the big upset if this continues. But it's still too close to call.
Yes.
It's still close.
Sa
It's
6th
still too
district.
close.
Prof.
Alright.
Ranjit, Prof. Guido, balikan natin si Arjan Aguirre. Si Prof. Arjan Aguirre of Ateneo de Manila University also still joining us via Zoom. Prof, you wanna chime in? You wanna join us here? Ngayon nasa Manila kami. You wanna chime in on our conversation here as we are joined by Mary Mon sa ating touchscreen?
Well, I'd like to echo what Prof. Ranjit said earlier kanina na yun nga, ako in-expect ko na Mayor Isko will, have this, huge or big comeback. So, yun nga, ako in-expect ko na siya. Nakikita ko na rin yung mga surveys in the past na yun nga mukhang yung reception kasi ng mga taga Manila, very visible na simula pa nung nag-announce siya. And it's, yung sa vice mayor position din, mukhang ako, na-surprise ako doon, given nga na mukhang malakas din yung pangalan yung current vice mayor ngayon. Pero yun nga, yung vice mayor ni Yorme, na si Miss Atienza, mukhang naka-gain siya ng parang enough support din para manalo because of Isko's popularity. So, yeah, to me, the race in Manila, something na may kita natin na yung pagbabalik ng dating mayor ay napakalaki ng naging ingay reception ulit ng mga tao. So yun yung aking initial thought dito.
Okay, Prof. Arjan, babalikan natin si Mary Mon dito sa touchscreen. Dahil galing from Manila, let's head down south. Eto.
All the way south, ha?
Yes. All the way south. Punta tayo sa Davao, Mary Mon. Go ahead.
I think isa sa pinaka-inaabangan din ng mga tao is ano nga ba magta-transpire pagdating sa local election dito sa Davao. And still, even if wala dito sa Pilipinas, dating
Kahit
Pangulo
nasa all the way
Rodrigo
to the- nasa
Duterte,
Hague.
he is still on the run for the mayor of Davao, the city of Davao, with 645,867 votes, followed by Nograles Carlo Alexi, an independent candidate with 79,588.
It's also important to note, ibaba natin ang konti sa vice mayor. Dahil alam naman natin, dahil pag wala ang ating mayor, ang
May vice mayor.
ang vice mayor. And sige, go ahead, Mary
And
Mon.
so far, pagdating naman sa Vice Mayor of Davao, the City of Davao, we still have another Duterte on the roster, Sebastian Duterte, with 634,801 votes, followed by Bernie Alaga, another independent candidate, with 77,677.
Malayo rin. So Duterte na rin
Yeah,
sa
but now
Davao.
you have to understand the Duterte have taken over the whole thing na. So, mayor, vice mayor, and congressman in 2 districts.
Yeah, down here.
So, the son of Pulong Duterte
Pulong.
is running against... Maybe let's look at that because that's the key battleground there. I think nothing surprising with this, except that will they make it in District 2?
Yan.
No. The district. Yeah.
That's District
Second
1.
district.
District
No,
1 yan,
second
District 2.
district pala.
I think the Garcia, yeah. No.
Yon.
The other one, down pa. Yeah. Okay, go up pa. Sige. Yung congressman ng...
Sa House of Representatives.
yeah, House of Representatives.
Yes,
eh.
Sangguniang yan.
Up pa, higher pa. Let's take a look at the numbers. So House of Representatives, hinahanap natin.
I think no, it's up.
that's
It's,
proud.
Mamaya, sige, babalikan
yeah,
natin.
but
Sige,
that's a
like
big
you're
fight.
saying,
This is the son of Pulong Duterte. And I think they're up against the Garcias, no, who have controlled that district for some time now. That city of Davao is correct. Yeah, that's it. So yan yung pero the last data we saw about an hour ago, lamang pa rin yung mga Duterte. Where they're competing, they're on top.
Wala naman shocker dito pagdating
Wala naman
sa-
shocker except for that district, pero
Yung
by and large,
yeah.
everybody expected the Dutertes to win.
And I wanna, sige, total nandun naman tayo sa usapan ng Dutertes dahil si VP Sara nga, in-endorso, si Amy Marcos, and also si Camille Villar. And then, doon sa heat maps natin, makikita natin na nakatulong yun, yung Solid South. Dahil alam naman natin, nasa alyansa si Camille Villar and then of course, Amy Marcos being the sister of President Bongbong Marcos. Pero how big of an impact was that endorsement by VP Sara with everything that's going on, especially getting sabi nga kanina sa mga interviews ni Senator Bong Go and Senator Bato de la Rosa with regards to the impeachment, malakas ang loob nila dahil ngayon para magiging 5. So far, para sa bilang nila, with Senator Bong Go, Senator Bato de la Rosa, with Dante Marcoleta, and then isa mo, they're considering already allies si Senator Amy Marcos and Camille Villar.
Yeah, you're completely correct. No, one interpretation of this is a big win for the opposition, no? Whether it's the pink opposition or the opposition led by the Dutertes. You can also see it in the party list, no? We showed earlier, Akbayan, okay, and then of course Duterte Youth winning very big in the party list election. So these two movements within the so-called opposition camp gained a lot over the last month in the campaigns, and the Duterte vote has now transcended Davao or Mindanao and Central Visayas. Now we're seeing a very strong support for Bongo even in the National Capital Region and certain places like Calabarzon in Balance Luzon. So that vote, the so-called pro-Duterte vote, has expanded over the last few months, and fueled by that sentiment. No? The words of Senator Bong Go earlier, it's a protest. It's not just it's not just a sympathy surge. It's a protest, and maybe the government has to listen to this because at some level, voters are articulating to government their sentiments. So, yeah.
Gusto natin pakita to yung heat maps. Ayan yung kay Marymon ngayon. Check. Ito, pati chicks. Makikita nga natin. As expected, if we're seeing right now, yung darker green, yan yung nakuha. And what we're looking at right now is Amy Marcos. Tama ba, Marymon? As expected kasing Solid North nakuha niya eh.
Yes, and so far, pagdating dun sa color indicators, kapag ka dark green, ibig sabihin, pasok sa top 12 sa mga lugar na ito ang si Senadora Amy Marcos. Well, kapag ka light green naman, ibig sabihin hindi siya preferably pumapasok doon sa top 12 sa mga ito. Pero siguro, bukod dito kay Senadora Amy Marcos, maganda ring silipin natin kasi napansin ko ito kay Christopher Bong Go. Solid green talaga dito, except this one on top, which is bandang Ilocos Norte.
Raquel, Prof. Guido, and Prof.
Well, I think na-mention ni Prof. Ranchit na si Senator Bongo, he cuts across the demographics, the regional demographics. But it's more than the endorsement, I believe. I think it's more of his own platform of the malasakit and of helping the public. And our own survey data shows na Filipinos are cognizant of the election platforms, which are primarily jobs-related poverty, inflation, food security, and health. So that's where, that's the perception of the public that Senator Bongo is someone who can help them in that regard. So I think it's more than just the impeachment.
Yeah.
I think they're looking beyond that. Because the impeachment, let's face it, the impeachment is just one issue. We voted for the next 3 years of the Senate life. So there are a myriad of other issues that we have to tackle with. So I don't think the Filipino public is voting just based on a single issue. I think it's more of a, confluence of different issues.
Yeah. Professor Ranjit, you wanted to say something?
No, just to add, when we're looking at Bongo's vote, up north, he's getting votes from independents, people who say that they're independent, not part of the Duterte or pro-Marcos camp. He's getting votes from pro-Marcos people. And largely, it's also driven by issues, the perception that he's very strong in health, the malasakit centers. So, that's the character of some of his votes up north. But in the south, it's really, the pro-Duterte vote in those areas. Maybe Prof. Arjan might want to add something.
Can we get Professor Arjan's input on this? The Duterte vote, Christopher Bongo, all over the Philippines.
One, we can also say that this might be a protest vote, but to me, it's just a sympathy, vote na generate ng Duterte camp, given that, if you go back, the past months following the impeachment perhaps, tapos yung ICC arrest, kung makita nyo, naging intense yung efforts from the Duterte camp to mobilize their supporters online. Naging consistent yung kanilang mga messaging in engaging their voters, supporters. So kung makita nyo, from that point up to the election day result, makita nyo na yung trajectory pataas. So ako, yes, pwede nilang sabihin na protest vote ito, pero ako, ang nakita ko dito, it's more of a sympathy vote. Now, what explains naman yung sa boto na nakuha siguro ng real opposition. So I'd like to say that the real oppositions are sila Senator Aquino and Senator Kiko Pangilinan. Sila yung parang hindi natamaan ng hidwaan ng dalawang faction or dalawang dynasty na nag-aaway. So marahil yung, again, the undecided, yun yung parang naging nila, decision so far. Na itong dalawang ito, naging masipag sila sa pangangampanya. So kung titingnan ninyo this past months, they did not say anything about the impeachment. They did not say anything against these dalawang kampo. They just focus on their issues. So yung siguro explanation siguro kung ba't nag-number 1 si Bong Go, kasi kung titingnan nyo rin na naging disiplinado rin yung messaging nila na siguro malasakit or yung sa health. So itong real opposition ito, naging disiplinado sila sa campaign messaging nila, kaya siguro yung salience effect na kumbaga hindi tinamaan yung kanilang mga numero. So yung mga tao na bumoto later on pabor sa mga Duterte, ito yung talagang so far naging tutok sila sa mga nangyayari at na-influensyahan sila ng mismong intense or massive campaigning na ginawa ng Duterte camp this past months.
So Mary Mon, tingnan kaya natin yung local races. For example, vote-rich Cebu, di ba? Kamusta na yung mayoral race nila doon?
Isa pa to sa mga binabantayan natin, di ba? Prof. Arjan, Prof. Ranjit, and Prof. Guido. Ito, we're looking at the mayoral race dito sa Cebu City. Go ahead, Mary Mon.
And so far, as of this time, itong si Nestor Bok Arquival, siyang nangunguna with over 200,000 votes na sinusundan naman nito ni Raymond Alvin Garcia with 157,000 votes. Pero aside from that din, kasi yung iba pa sa tinitignan din natin is the city of Las Piñas na base nga sa datos, 318,542 ang kanilang registered voters. Pero ngayon, ang nangunguna dito ay si April Aguilar with 125,069 votes, followed by Carlo Aguilar, another Aguilar. I think siguro maganda rin mag-comment dito sila, Professor, with over 85,547 votes. While for the Vice Mayor seat naman of the City of Las Piñas, nangunguna pa rin another Aguilar, maybe pwede mo pag-usapan ito, Imelda Aguilar with 131,000 votes, followed by Louis Bustamante with 71,000 votes.
You want to chime in dito sa Las Piñas? So maybe...
But this is emblematic of politics in the country, really fat dynasties. And there again, you saw the example one was the Dutertes in Davao. Of course, the Aguilars are, of course, Cynthia Villar's family. But you have to understand, in this particular race, they're competing against each other. The big issue there, the big race there, is Cynthia Villar. If you can see it, for Congress, I think the proxy of the Aguilar family competing against the Villars is winning. No? So Madam Cynthia is not doing very well. No? But there's still some votes. Tama, Gids, no? There's still some votes left. We don't know if she can cover the, bridge the gap. But this is the big news in this particular contest.
How do you read that? What happened to Senator Cynthia Villar? Kasi ma-apektado ba siya dun sa mga negative campaigns sa kanyang social media?
It could be a confluence of so many factors. But certainly, this was unprecedented. This is the big news. And the person that the competing side of the family plays, si Mr. Santos, Mark Santos, is really a not new in politics, but certainly not at the level of Senator Cynthia Villar. So, but it's not yet done. There's still some votes left. Let's see if she can bridge the gap. But this is a big gap already, as far as we're concerned.
And to add to that, yeah, we talked about mga negative, negative news about certain candidates. And sometimes we think na wala naman palang effect ito sa voting public, but we're wrong. Actually, there is an effect. And over the last few weeks, I don't pay much attention, but we've been hearing about not just negative news, but talks about political dynasties and celebrities being voted na walang experience. And apparently the public is listening pala. We think, sometimes we think maybe they're not listening, but maybe they're becoming a lot more mature than we think. So,
Balikan natin yung Cebu, isa pa sa mga
Yes.
mabibigat din yung sa governor race dahil si incumbent governor Gwendolyn Garcia, based sa partial and unofficial results, Prof. Ranjit, Prof. Arjan, and Prof. Guido, is right behind Pam Baricuatro ng PDP laban. And alam mo naman natin, a few days ago, naging controversial because Cebu Governor Garcia filed a complaint against Ombudsman for suspending her. Ito, makikita natin. Marymon, go ahead. Ipakita mo sa amin yung numbers dito sa governor race sa Cebu.
So far dito, well, some people are actually expecting or rooting for Garcia Gwen. Pero dito ang nangunguna is itong si Pam Baricuatro with over 1,023,000 votes. Followed by, ito nga si Garcia with only 700,000 votes. But then again, usually pagdating sa mga ganito, people are still hoping, especially for supporters of some candidates, hanggat hindi pa raw natatapos ang tallying of votes, posibleng magkaroon pa ng changes sa final tallying.
Okay, Marymon, sorry to cut you, Chiki and Cheska. But right now, we're saying goodbye. Maraming salamat again for your time, Professor Ranjit Rai, President of Octa Research. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for inviting Octa, and we just finished a very important process in our democracy. So all of us deserve a pat on the back, and especially the media outfits have been here until 2 o'clock, and of course NAMFREL, and TPCRV, and of course COMELEC and all our teachers, and then the policemen who are still out there watching our ballots. So congratulations to all of us. I think people have spoken. Imperfect as our democracy is, we just finished an electoral exercise, and not all countries in the world have this, opportunity to vote. So whatever the outcome is, we did it as a country, and I think the outcome is showing that our voters are getting more and more mature.
Thank
So
you
let's
for
hope
your
always.
Prof. Ranjit, thank you for your time. Sobra. Alam ko kanina ka pa nandito,
Yes,
di ba?
you've been here the whole night.
8 o'clock.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you
Pero
so much.
Professor
Ay, di
Guido
mo
David
sasama
is
si
staying
Prof.
with
Guido,
us,
di ba?
no?
It's Prof. David sa...
Ay, iiwan mo siya.
Okay.
Yeah, iiwan yan.
Okay.
We have more questions for him.
Duty niya ngayon.
Thank you once again to Professor Ranjit Rai, President of
Thank you.
Octa Research,
Thank you.
for joining us. Maraming salamat, sir.
Thank you again. We'll take a quick break, guys. One News Bilang Pilipino 2025 special coverage continues, bringing you the latest updates from across the country when we return.
Bilang Pilipino.
still tuned into Bilang Pilipino 2025 on One News, 31-hour non-stop coverage of the midterm elections. And of course, kasama ko po si Chicky Vergel and Andre Felix. And si Professor Ranjit Rai already had to bid goodbye, but we still have Professor
Guido
Guido.
David.
And we also have Professor Arjan Aguirre on Zoom with us.
And Mary Mon Reyes also on
And
standby,
Mary Mon.
our mobile journalist sa ating touchscreen. Okay, before we go to Chiki, before anything else, bago tayo bumalik kay Professor Guido David, balik tayo sa big screen. Okay, susundan tayo ng ating camera. Titingnan natin if any changes. Mga kapatid, as of 1:04 a.m., makikita po natin dito, so far, COMELEC's partial and unofficial tally, 78.82% na po ang natatransmit na boto. Let's go all the way to number 1. Walang changes so far sa ating top 1 with re-election of Senator Bong Go with over 26.5 million votes so far. Pretty much safe na siya dyan, according to Professor Guido David and also Ranjit Rai. And number 2, this is a surprise na pinag-uusapan ever since pumasok yung partial and unofficial tally. Bam Aquino trying to get a seat back at the Senate with over 20.5 million votes sa senatorial race. Number 3, Senator Bato de la Rosa. Number 4, Senator Erwin Tulfo, Secretary Erwin Tulfo with over 16.7 million votes. And number 5, rounding at top 5, is Kiko Pangilinan with over 14.9 million votes. Rodante Marcoleta, also a surprise here according to a lot of pundits, at number 6, over 14.9 million votes. Ping Lacson is at number 7, 14.7 million votes in the 78.82 COMELEC's partial and unofficial tally as of 1:04 in the morning. Tito Sotto also trying to get a seat back at the Senate, 14.5 million votes. Tia Cayetano, re-electionist, at number 9, 14.2 million votes. Camille Villar, in some surveys, medyo outside the Magic 12, but here, part of the Magic 12 at number 10 with over 13.3 million votes. Dito Lapid, earlier, a few hours ago, was at number 12, but now, medyo naungusan niya si Senator Amy Marcos at number 11 with over 13 million votes. Right behind is Amy Marcos at number 12 sa Magic 12. And then, from the outside looking in, Ben Tulfo at number 13 with over 11 million votes, 11.8. And Bong Revilla at number 14, over 11.8 million votes as well. And number 15, rounding it up, is outgoing Mayor ng Makati City, Abby Binay, with 11.5 million votes. Chiki, check.
Yes, now that Andre actually gave you the rundown, no, dun sa senatorial race, punta ako dun sa local, no? Kasi we've been talking many times about political dynasties. You have the Cayetanos, you have the Dutertes, you have the Marcoses, I mean, a lot of them, no, political dynasties. Kanina, napag-usapan namin, it's because people would rather vote for the evil that they know, or the devil that they know, kumpara daw dun sa angel o, you know, the alternative, no? Na hindi naman nila kilala. But then, when do you, kasi sabi nyo, change is, I mean, that's what people want now, change, di ba? Kasi yun yung, this is what the Senate results are saying. And some of the local races, no? Just like the one in Cebu, di ba? Na si Gwen Garcia, she was their governor, mukhang na-overtake na ni Pambari 4. Where do people say na, okay, I want change na?
Actually, usually it's clear naman, and I have to add a little bit to what you said kanina na, like people vote for political dynasties as a necessary,
kasi kilala na nila eh.
As a necessary evil. I wouldn't go that far naman. We do know that if the governance is satisfactory for the public, they will vote for no change. And we even see that U.S. elections. I mean, sorry if I reference the U.S. elections, but if they're happy with the economy, they will usually vote for the same party. The same party will continue. And sa local elections, continuity is very important to the public. Especially if they're seeing, some progress, prosperity, they're seeing jobs, they're seeing, programs. And continuity means voting for either the same person or part of the same family. Kasi if they're of the same family, kunyari mayor and asawa na mayor or anak na mayor, then that might constitute a continuity. So if they're happy, they will want to continue. But if they're not happy, then they will want change. So nationally, the messaging is that there's some unhappiness about what they're seeing. In some localities, there's some unhappiness, whether the reason is that it's economic, or that the reason is that their leader, their local leader, is doing something that they do not approve of. Now they're seeing negative news, something controversy, and generally the Filipinos just want a leader that's nakafocus sa trabaho, not much controversy, and some some output, prosperity, and we saw that with Mayor Joy, with Mayor Vico, with Mayor Magalong. The people are happy, so they want to keep them there, and maybe they want some continuity so that the same programs, as mentioned by the aforementioned mayors, will continue, and they will still see the same prosperity. But when they're unhappy, then they will want change. They will get rid of the dynasty and vote for someone new.
But so if we're talking about these dynasties, well, in terms of what you mentioned, that they want to continue what they feel is good for them. You mentioned Mayor Vico. We also interviewed Mayor Joy, and then we look at Las Piñas, where Camille Villar's mother, Cynthia Villar, is trailing behind. She's second right now, I think, in the running. And Las Piñas has been a Villar Bailey. I believe Camille's maternal grandfather, Philemon, was already in politics before. In terms of that, could you explain more or delve more into the difference that we've seen so far in terms of Mayor Joy, Mayor Vico, and then Camille, who is vying for a national seat but hasn't broken into the... Oh, well, she's in the top 10 right now. But her mom is trailing in Las Piñas, of all places.
Yeah, but their mom is trailing someone who's related to their family, so it's like yeah. So it's it's a similar situation in Makati. So we have a Binay versus the spouse of a Binay. So it's basically the sub.
It's still all in the family.
Yeah, all in the family, subgroups of the. And I was in a discussion earlier, and it was mentioned by a professor na having continuity is not necessarily evil. I mean, it's an acceptable form. I mean, I don't know if there's an acceptable form of political dynasty, but that's fairly acceptable. What's actually problematic is that when you have a whole family, sitting as mayors, congressman, vice mayor, governor, or concejal, and even the party list, then that would be like what we're talking about, a real dynasty. But if you just have a succession of a mayor followed by the mayor's son, for example, or mayor's daughter, or the wife, then it's more of a continuity, and maybe not so much as a political dynasty, at least in the opinion of the professor I talked to.
Would you like to chime in, Professor Aguirre?
Okay, so actually I agree with the view that dynasties persist, or they have this tendency to stabilize their rule because of their ability to perform well, economically speaking, pati yung kanilang political control. But in addition to that, kasi aside from yung kanilang incumbency, another factor that I would like to highlight, is yung existence of a viable challenger. So merong mga lumalabas na mga challenger, a person who might want to challenge the rule of a dynasty. Hindi lahat kasi ng lumalabas or nag-emerge na challenger viable eh. So for example, merong mga challenger na lumalabas na bagong salta lang talaga sa politika, yung kanilang awareness level napakababa. So kahit anong ganda ng background nila, kahit anong ganda ng kanilang plataforma, hindi talaga sila nananalo. So yun yung isa pang factor kung bakit merong mga alam mo yun, mayroong mga dynasty na bigla natatalo pag eleksyon. So again, let's go back to the early 2000s. Sila Father Ed Pandillo, sila Grace Padaka. So na-beat nila yung mga dynasty na nakalaban nila. Kasi nga, aside from may infighting nang nakikita or meron ng poor performance sa kanilang rule, naging viable candidate din sila. Meaning meron silang grassroots, capability for grassroots mobilization. May mga civil society groups na sumusuporta sila. So yung sa case naman ni Vico, so yung kanyang pagiging viable challenger, makita natin na yung campaign niya grassroots din eh. So nasuportahan siya ng mga civil society groups na meron siyang engagement sa mga tao. So yun yung parang isa pang factor kung bakit yung ibang mga dynasty na mamayagpag, yung iba naman natatalo. So yeah.
Nawala ba si Prof?
Yeah, I think it's...
Okay, Prof?
Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yan, medyo naputol ka lang.
Oo.
Okay, so yun nga, ang binabanggit ko kanina, yun nga, yung viable challenger,
Yes.
kailangan may capability siya na yun nga, makapag-deliver in terms of mounting a campaign that that really engages the people. So usually meron silang backing ng mga civil society groups, mga civil society organizations. So hindi lahat ng nagcha-challenge sa mga dynasty ay nagiging successful dito. So binanggit ko nga kanina, yun nga, yung mga cases nila Grace Padaka, nila Father Ed Pandillo. So nanalo sila one time, tapos yun nga, yung sa case naman ni Vico Sotto, bakit hanggang ngayon nanalo siya? Kasi yun nga, meron talaga siyang backing ng mga tao. So yun nga, civil society groups, tapos inopen niya yung government ng Pasig. Kung makita niyo ang Pasig government ngayon, ibang-iba sa Pasig government nung time ni Eusebio. So yun yung parang explanation din. Apart from sa nabanggit yun nga yung sa incumbency advantage or yung performance ng mga incumbent dynasty.
Okay, guys, let's now head to Caloocan muna, no? Kamusta ang laban ng Malapitan at Trillanes dyan? We have mobile journalist JF Rivera. Hi, JF. Please tell us what's going on.
So, ngayon, as of 1:05 in the morning, 98% ng nakukuhan natin at hinihintay na lang tayo sa 2%. At nagkaroon lang tayo ng delay sa pagkuha nito dahil nag-handful counting ang ating mga pagduruan dito. At dahil nga ito sa malakas na pagbuhos ng ulan kanina, mga bandang alas 3 ng gabi. So, mamayang umaga, gagawin natin naman ang pagproklama para kay Mayor Joy Belmonte.
Nakausap mo na any of the camps? Any of both camps? Meron ba silang mga statements as of this point, JF?
Si Mayor Joy, andito raw. Pero, hindi na mag-conduct ng interview. At sinabi na ipabukas na lang. Hintayin na lang po daw mamaya ang kanyang proklamasyon na lang daw ibigay ng interview o mensahe. As of naging katunggali ni Mayor Malapitan at si dating Senador Antonio Trillanes support, wala pa tayo ng ibang mensahe mula sa kanya.
Okay. All right. Medyo bumibitaw yung signal ni JF, no? Pero yun nga, mga kapatid, no? No statements yet from any of the camps.
May tanong ko kay JF. JF Rivera, mobile journalist, maraming salamat ha. Thank you again, JF.
Thank you, JF. And right now, balikan natin ang senatorial results. Alright, so we have...
Let's go back to the big screen.
Did anything move, Andre?
Anything move?
Actually, gising pa ngayon si Senator Bong Go.
I'm sure gising sila.
Yes, we're messaging with his team right now. Congratulations, Senator. If you're watching, we're trying to get him on the show via phone. Okay, let's go back. So as of 1:22 a.m. po, as you can see, COMELEC's partial and unofficial tally, 78.96% na yung natatransmit, as you can see in our big screen. So as of 1:22 a.m., not much changes. Sa top 3 natin, re-election is Senator Bong Go with over 26.5. million votes are in for Senator Bong Go. Right behind him, ang dami nagsabi, dark horse, a surprise, Senator Bam Aquino. In a lot of surveys, wasn't even part of the Magic 12. But here, top 2 with over 20.5 million votes. At number 3, and rounding the top 3 here is re-electionist Senator Bato de la Rosa with over 20.3 million votes.
Yeah, I see. Nothing much has
Wala.
changed, no? 1 to 12.
Punta tayo saan?
Pero Prof. Guido,
Sige.
dito kasi si Senator Amy Marcos nasa 13 million, di ba? Tapos ang kasunod is Ben Tulfo, 11.85. And even Bong Revilla and Abby Binay nasa 11 million. May chance pa, 78.96 pa lang po kasi ito no?
Kaya bang humabol?
Kaya pa bang humabol? 13 to 15.
Well, there's 21% left to count, and that will probably be around 10 million votes left to count. So statistically, there's still a possibility that one of them would catch up. Right now, hindi pa actually malapit The separation is about almost 1.2 million votes. Ang magkadikit dito sa number 13 and 14, they're separated by just 27,000 votes. So there could be a flip that could happen. We're not sure. We're just saying na medyo dikit dyan. Yung 11 and 12, medyo magkalapit din. That's a separation of about 70,000 votes. Kanina lang nag-flip, di ba? Number 11 kanina si Senator Amy. But they flipped, and I think maybe Senator Lito Lapid is pulling a bit away. From number 5 and 6, that's about 50,000 votes separation, 58,000 votes. I'm not saying there will be, magdidikit siya. I mean, earlier this evening when I was watching it from home, Dante Marcoleta was number 7 or 8, so now he's not number 6. Can he make it to number 5? I mean, these are just more of the rankings. And then sa number 2 and 3, a little bit more separation between BAM and Senator Bato de la Rosa, about 200,000 votes. So I agree also with Professor Arjun na there could be some changes pa sa number 10, 11, 12. We will have to wait and see. We can't make that prediction, but we can't call it yet. Number 13, 14, 15, I would say they're not out of it yet. There's still a chance that they could still make it in the top 12.
I will follow it up, Chicky, because ang nakikita nga natin, roughly yung layo over 1 million votes ni yung sa number 12, Senator Amy Marcos. Yes, nag-switch sila, nag-flip sila ni Lito Lapid. Kanina number 11 si Amy, ngayon number 12, number 11 si Lito Lapid. But yung 13, 14, 15, may chance pa ba even Ben Tulfo or nakikita natin medyo malayo yung Abby Binay, mga less than 300,000 yung difference mula sa 13, 14 kay Abby Binay. Pero yung 13, 14, may chance pa ba with 78.96% na lang as of 122? Dahil medyo, sabi mo nga, 21%. Kaya pa ba kahit ma-bump off si Amy or si Lito Lapid sa top 12?
Possible. Depending on how those 10 million votes left will shape up. Possible, but we will see Abby Binay is about 1.5 million away from.
Sorry. Right now, Cheska, we have on the line. Go ahead.
On the line, we have Senator Bong Go, who is leading the partial unofficial results. Congratulations, Senator. Good morning. Thank you for taking our call.
Good morning, Ma'am Cheska, Sir Andre, and
Chiki po.
Yes.
Chiki, Ma'am Chiki. Magandang umaga. At sa
Senbong.
mga kababayan nating nakikinig ngayon, maraming salamat po sa tiwala.
No, maraming salamat sa iyo dahil mag-aalauna ay medya na, gising ka pa. Salamat din kay Dea Ricacho Mijares dahil sabi mukhang game ka nga daw, gising. Kasi Senbong, I know you've done a lot of interviews since nag-stop kanina ng alas 7 yung ating polling precincts and then nag-number 1. Honestly, Senbong, nagulat ka ba sa resulta? Dahil alam na natin sa survey, medyo naglalaro-laro, nag-iiba-iba yung numbers, pero ikaw na nag-number 1 ka and then number 3 din si Sen Bato de la Rosa.
Unang-una, kami mga kandidato, hindi po kami napapalagay, hindi po ako nagkukumpiyansa hanggat nakikita mo talaga yung resulta. Ako naman po, napakahalaga po sa akin itong midterm election na ito dahil performance rating po namin ito dahil we are due for re-election. So kung makikita ng taong bayan, kung talagang nagtrabaho ka sa for the past 6 years during your first term as senator. At iba po ang sitwasyon namin ngayon. Noon, kami po ang administration with the incumbency of President Duterte with his high approval rating noong panahon na yon. Talagang malaki ang tsansa namin ngayon. Kami po yung, kumbaga, sariling kayod po ito, yung partido po namin, talagang sariling sikap lang po kami, magsama-sama yung Duterte, along yung mga preparation sa rally, sa motorcade, kami-kami lang po. So, papasalamat rin po ako sa mga kasamahan ko na kahit ganun pa man ay nairaos po namin at happy po ako. I'm so happy na mabibigyan po ng fresh mandate. Ako po ay sipag po ang puhunan ko rito. Sipag, pagmamalasakit at serbisyo sa ating mga kababayang Pilipino.
Yes, Senator Bong Go, this is Chicky, no, ulit. Nag-usap na po ba kayo ni Senator Bato de la Rosa?
Hindi pa po. Nung isang araw lang kami magkasama, pero ano naman kami, we are close at kumbaga nagkakaintindihan naman po kami parati. Nasa the same party kami. So, congratulate ko na rin po ang aking kasamahan sa partido, si Senator Bato de la Rosa, and of course, Senator Dante Marcoleta, ang kasama ng Duterte 10, and of course, sa lahat ng magiging possible winners po, no? Though partial pa po ito, congratulations po sa lahat. Alam ko, pinaghirapan niyo po lahat ito, pinagpawisan natin to.
Senator, you ranked third in the 2019 senatorial race. Ngayon po, nasa number 1 ka po with 78.96% in the partial and unofficial votes. Senator, ano po yung masasabi nyo? Ano po yung pagkakaiba ngayon? Ano po yung nangyari in the past 6 years na na-push po kayo to number 1?
Trabaho po, serbisyo. Alam ko ng Pilipino na ako po ay nagtatrabaho at hindi ko po nilimitahan ang sarili ko bilang isang mambabatas. Dahil para sa akin, trabaho po namin, legislator, constituency at representation. Ito po mga kababayan natin. Gusto ko talagang ilapit yung serbisyo ng gobyerno sa ating mga kababayan, including medical services para sa mga poor patients. Yun naman po ang aking advocacy bilang health advocate. Gusto kong ilapit ang serbisyo ng gobyerno sa ating mga kababayan. Huwag natin pahirapan ang ating mga kababayan. Tayo lumapit sa kanila. At based on my assessment, no, ngayong midterm, this is my personal assessment sa nangyari. A lot of surprise po na nangyari sa resulta ngayon. Nakita ko there are about 20% of the electorate na parang tahimik. Tahimik sila na nabigla ka na lang sa boto nila. Ito yung mga taong gusto po ng yung mga leader nila, yung mga pinili nila ay magsiservisyo po sa kanila. Kaya magugulat ka na lang po sa naging resulta po ng partial and unofficial results or tally as of right now.
Senator Bong, Andre Felix po ulit to. Dahil nakikita kita, ipapasok ko pagiging sports ko dito. At ikaw bilang PBA fan, lagi kita nakikita sa Araneta, sa Big Dome. Nanonood ka, you're an avid PBA fan. Alam ko mahilig ka sa sports. Anong masasabi mo pagdating sa sports term? Parang malahinebra ba yung datingan mo dito? Dahil bigla kang nag-number 1 dito sa ating partial and unofficial results.
As chairman of the Senate Committee on Sports, ako po isang paraan po yan na ilayo natin ang mga kabataan sa masasamang bisyo. Ayaw ko naman po masayang yung inumpisahan ni former President Duterte, no? Yung labanan po yung kriminalidad, yung illegal na droga. Through sports naman tong akin. At proud lang po ako. For the past 6 years, chairman ng sports, dati kulela tayo, nakamit natin ang first ever gold sa 2020 Tokyo Olympics at nakadalawang gold tayo sa 2024 Olympics. Priority ko po ang sports. We can produce more medalists Olympics. Magagaling po ang Pilipino with proper support lang po. Sir Andre, alam nyo, proud lang po ako. Itong dati nanonood po ako sa then known as Ultra, Field Sports na ngayon, noong 1984. Ngayon po, natutulungan nating ipa-repair, napupush natin bilang chairman ng Committee on Sports. Importante rito, suportahan natin ang ating mga atleta. At gusto ko na lang po isingit sa inyo, isa rin po ako sa author at co-sponsor ng National Academy of Sports sa New Clark City. Meron tayong pasilidad doon na eskwelahan na pwede na po mag-aral at the same time mag-training ang student athlete natin. Yun po ang gusto kong paramihin pagdating pa ng panahon para sa ating mga estudyante na gusto mag-aral, pagsabayin yung pagte-training po. National Academy of Sports.
Sen Bong, pinapahingan kami ng mga producer ng reaction nyo po sa kay Senator Amy Marcos, who's also a re-electionist, dahil alam naman natin, kapatid ng ating Presidente Bongbong Marcos, dahil alam naman din natin ang sitwasyon ngayon between the Marcoses and the Dutertes, but Vice President Sara Duterte endorsing Amy Marcos. Your reaction to re-electionist Senator Amy Marcos, part of the Magic 12, actually number 12 as we speak, sa ating partial and unofficial results as of 1:22 a.m. as at number 12 with over 13 million votes. Your reaction, sir?
Bilang isa sa kasamahan ko po sa 18th and 19th Congress, hindi na po ako magbibigay ng komento dyan. Marcos, institution na po yan. Anak po yan ng dating Pangulo. Usually, nakikita niyo naman po ngayon nasa sa top 12, mga pamilya na old families na po yan sa politika rito sa ating bansa. No? So, pareho naman po yun. Rank 12, rank 11, rank 10. Importante naman po ay manalo. No? Yun naman po ang importante para sa akin. Pero ayaw ko na pong mag-comment kung ano po yung naging ranking niya.
I think si Professor
Guido.
David,
Senator Bong Go, this is Dr. Guido David of Octa Research, and alam ko ayaw niyong pangunahan, pero the way I see it, with almost 80% of the vote na you have 26 million unofficial count, 6 million over lead over the number 2. So personally, as a data scientist, I think it's safe to say na you will be remaining the number 1 voted senator. And I think this reaffirms yung trust and belief sa iyo ng mga taong bayan. Pero I just want to touch up on something na doon sa survey namin, isa sa mga election issues na raised ng mga respondents is yung drug problem. I think some respondents are noting na may nagkakaroon ng increase in drug-related crimes or yung propagation of illegal drugs. So it's becoming a bigger concern. I don't know personally, yun lang yung sabi ng datos eh. What do you think, Senator, if you once you sit in Senate again, na pwede nating magawa about this problem?
Gaya ng nabanggit ko kanina, sir, anyway, congratulations, Professor, no, you're part of the Octa, sir.
Yes.
Kayo
Yes.
yung,
Yes, thank you,
salamat at
Senator.
natugma niyo po yung inyong analysis, yung inyong yung survey ninyo, no, na magtatap po ako. Assuming magtatap po ako. Congratulations sa inyong accuracy ng inyong naging survey. Anyway, about your question dito sa drug problem, kaya nga po nabanggit ko kanina, it's one way po na labanan natin ang illegal na droga through sports. It's konektado po yun. Pag naging busy po yung ating mga kabataan through sports with proper support from the government, ay mapapalayo po natin sila sa illegal na droga. Pero napapansin ko nga po, kaya nga sa ngayon ay nakikita natin, nakukumpara nung panahon ni dating Pangulong Duterte. Kaya sabi ko nga, yung kanyang paglaban sa illegal na droga at ang kriminalidad, yung Pilipino po naging safe maglakad sa gabi with this hardline stance against illegal drugs during his term as president. Mas nakakalakad po yung mga anak natin na safe at hindi nasasaktan at hindi na nababastos. Kasi pag bumalik po yung illegal na droga, babalik po ang kriminalidad, babalik po ang korupsyon sa gobyerno. Kaya nakakatakot po itong illegal na droga. As a legislator, baka planning, no? Pinag-aaralan natin kung ano pang pwedeng atas na may susulong natin. Nasubukan na rin po natin before mga rehabilitation centers. We can institutionalize na lang nito, no? Para ma-require itong mga drug dependents na magpa-rehab. Dahil nung panahon ni former President Duterte, nagpatayo siya ng maraming mga rehab centers, hindi naman po napupuno. Ay napapansin ko kasi napaka-haba, very tedious ng proseso na kailangan mo pong ipresenta sa korte bago sila ipaparehab. Maybe marami po mga kababayan natin na gusto magbagong buhay na hindi po nabibigyan ng pagkakataon, ay baka pwedeng mabigyan ng pagkakataon na magpa-rehab. At alam nyo, itong drug addiction, kaya nga addiction na-addict sila. Tulungan natin sila, tulungan natin ang ating mga kababayan. Magsulong tayo ng mga batas na mas mapapadali ang kanilang rehabilitation.
Senator Bong Go, kasama rin natin dito, no, si Professor Arjan Aguirre. Professor, is there anything you would like to say to Senator Bong Go or questions you'd like to ask him?
Congratulations po, Senator Bong Go. So, katulad po nung nabanggit ni Dr. Guido, so ako naniniwala naman po ako na yun nga yung tututukan nyo for your next 6 years ay yung mga bagay po na talagang kailangan po ng ating mga kababayan. So, again, congratulations po.
Thank you. Unahin ko po yung mga batas, pro-poor programs po na mas mailapit pa natin yung serbisyo ng gobyerno sa ating mga kababayan. Especially po, medical services po. Yun po ang plano ko in the next 6 years.
Okay, let's go back to, we're going to keep Senator Bong Go muna? Or okay?
Magpasalamat na tayo.
Pasalamat na tayo.
Mag-aalas 2 na eh.
Oo.
Senbong, maraming salamat sa oras ninyo. Alam kong
Ako po ang magpapasalamat sa pagkakataong binigay nyo. Kahit magdamag tayo rito.
Ayun naman pala eh.
Huwag mo sabihin yan, Sen, dahil pag nakinig ka ng susunod na shift, baka tawagan ka din ng alas 2 hanggang alas 6. Pero Sen, gusto ko lang tanungin, before we let you go, are you in Manila? Are you in Davao? Nasaan po kayo ngayon?
Actually, bumalik na po ako ng Maynila to monitor the results, no? In fact, kanina na-interview rin po ako ng inyong
Yes.
network. Nandun po ako sa Sangyup Salamat. Nagkataon po na salamat sa tiwala at suporta. Alam nyo, hirap po akong kumain kanina, wala akong gana hanggat hindi lumabas yung resulta. Ganon ang pakiramdam po ng isang kandidato. At kasi naging para sa akin, performance rating po namin ito bilang isang re-electionist po. Napakahalaga po sa amin.
So, totoo po palang nasa K-Barbecue ka, sa Sangyup Salamat. Akala ko joke lang po kayo kanina. Well, again, Sen Bong, congratulations mula po sa amin dito. Maraming salamat sa oras ninyo. And thank you again, re-election ni Senator Bong Go.
Thank you very much. Sa mga kababayan natin, maraming salamat po.
Okay, Andre, Cheska, Prof. Guido, Prof. Aguirre, let's go back to Visayas with our One News Cebu desk correspondent, Dale Israel. Dale, ano nangyayari na dyan sa Cebu?
Yes, I'm buntag. May buntag kanina.
May buntag sa mo, Dale.
Yeah, we're here at the canvassing of votes here at the Cebu Capital Social Hall. The tuition of votes in Cebu provincial candidates are slow at first, but now we are reaching around 60% of the votes coming from the towns have already arrived here or have been transmitted here at the COMELEC in provincial capital. So COMELEC, our regional director Francisco Pobres said there are places in Cebu province that have extended their voting. That's why there's a delay because some flock to the precincts. Actually, gali daw ng mga Pilipino na only a few minutes before the closing time, they went to the precincts. But in Cebu City, where 85 or 90% of the votes have been transmitted, incumbent councilor Nestor Archival is leading among the candidates for mayor ahead of incumbent Mayor Raymond Garcia, former Mayor Mike Rama, and Customs Commissioner Yogi Ruiz. Ruiz actually conceded defeat and congratulated Archival, as so is incumbent Mayor Garcia, who also conceded defeat from Archival. Here in Cebu Province, the 30 ally, Pamela Barrecuatro, is leading ahead of incumbent Gwen Garcia. this will be one of the biggest upsets in the history of Cebu if Baricuatro will win the gubernatorial race. Out of the 12 LGUs that transmitted results, 7 were in favor of Baricuatro. And most of the LGUs that transmitted were supposedly the bailiwicks of Garcia, especially in the Cebu southern towns. In Cebu towns and cities, transmission is at 60% as of 1 o'clock this morning. Bogo City, for example, had 27,181 votes, while Pamela had 16,554 votes. So when Pamela Baricuatro gets a lead, he gets it with a huge lead. And on the other hand, Gwen Garcia, when she gets a lead, it will be just a few votes ahead of Pamela Baricuatro. So, for example, in Alguinsan, where Gwen is supposed to, a bailiwick of the Garcias, Pamela is being taken over by Pamela Baricuatro, especially in Minglanilla, where Baricuatro got 30,000 votes compared to Garcia's only 15,000 votes. And now we're seeing here until the end of the canvassing here at the Cebu Capitol.
Dale, anong sabi ng mga botante ng Cebu, especially for the gubernatorial post, no? Kasi di ba si Baricuatro, siya yung one of 2 women that was openly criticizing si Gwen Garcia. So ang lead ba niya or ang preference for her as of this point, was it because of yung open criticisms niya kay Gwen Garcia at talagang ito na pala yung change na gusto ng mga tao, or was it because she was backed by, she is backed by the Duterte team?
Not necessarily about the pandemic. That was the issue first they had with Pamela Baricuatro and Gwen, when Pamela Baricuatro had criticized the moves of the governor during that time, the pandemic. But it's because this just proved that there are more Duterte supporters here in Cebu, and most actually of the winners here have started their campaign with support for Duterte. For example, Baricuatro has been campaigning and tagging himself with the Dutertes, and VP Sara has been here several times here in Cebu.
All politics is local talaga, no? Okay, thank you very much, Dale Israel, para sa iyong update. Good morning. Okay, balikan natin si okay, mamaya balikan natin si Mary Mon. So, what did you think of that? Ang dami nating too much information tayo ngayon.
There's a lot going on. Information overload tayo kasi pumapasok talaga yung numbers, ang daming reports and everything. Pero once again, thank you so much to Professor Guido and Professor Arjan, Professor Ranjit. Lahat sila tumutulong sa atin to interpret the information and to explain what's been going on in different areas around the Philippines.
Oras po natin, 1:46, 14 minutes left sa aming shift dito sa One News. Once again, you're tuned in to the special coverage, election coverage ng Bilang Pilipino 2025. We will take a really quick break. Stay with us dito live sa One News. This is the special coverage of Bilang Pilipino 2025. Bayan ang ipanalo. Kami po yung magbabalik. Stay with us.
Bilang Pilipino.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Bilang Pilipino 2025. One News' 31-hour non-stop coverage of the midterm elections.
Magandang umaga,
Ayan.
Pilipinas, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Kami po'y gising na gising pa. Sana kayo din nakahanda ang inyong mga kape because as of 1:36 a.m., 79.36%, almost 80% na po ang pumapasok sa COMELEC ng partial and unofficial tally. Wala pa masyado nagbabago. Mamaya abangan nyo sa slot nila. Well, you will still be here, Chicky.
Until 6 o'clock in the morning.
And Denise Valdesancho. Okay, let's go first to Professor Arjan, who is joining us via Zoom from the Ateneo de Manila University. Professor Arjan, before we say goodbye, your final words.
Okay, so congratulations to all of us. Again, sa inyo po, sa media, ganda po ng naging kumbaga resulta ng ating eleksyon. Again, ang point po dito is people, voted, they have decided, and there's hope. There's hope, especially for Philippine democracy.
All right. Thank you so much, Professor Arjan Aguirre. Professor Guido.
Yeah, I want to give credit to the group na they don't usually get the credit. And ito yung the COMELEC, sina Chairman George Erwin Garcia and the whole team. Why? Because, usually yung COMELEC, they get a lot of flack. May distrust the COMELECs that I hear about. But this time, I don't see anyone complaining. Kasi if anyone's complaining, it will be the administration, and it will be quite unusual if the administration's complaining against the COMELEC. So parang it does seem like it's safe and clean election so far. Hopefully, walang mga violence related. So we'll continue to pray for that. And the Filipino public have spoken. Looking at the top 12, I know may mga 10 million votes to come, but it's possible that the top 12 we're seeing right now will be the top 12 that we'll see tomorrow when we wake up in the morning. So I'm not saying na final na yun. I'm just saying that there's a good possibility, especially with about 1.2 million votes separating number 12 and number 13. It's close, but it's not that close. So, maybe I'll wake up to a surprise and I'll say, oh, I didn't see that coming, just like yung survey. But it's also possible that that will be the 12 that we will have as our new senators for 2025.
Thank you for your time. Once again, fellow from the Octa Research, Doc Professor Guido David. Thank you also to Professor Arjan Aguirre of the Ateneo de Manila University. At kanina nakasama din natin si Professor Ranjit Rai ng Octa Research. Marami pong salamat sa oras ninyo.
And of course, Professor Ronald Holmes as
Yes.
well.
That's right.
From
Hindi na tayo
Asia.
magbabay.
Oo.
Okay, puntahan natin ulit si mobile journalist Marymon Reyes. Kamusta naman ang labanan na Binay versus Campos?
Sa Makati
Mga
City.
natitirang oras natin para sa
Oo,
show
oo.
natin.
Sulitin mo namin, Rimon. Go.
We are meeting the 80% transmission. So from the 93, ito na naman tayo. Hindi pa rin tayo nakakalagpas talaga sa 74,000. Pero siguro, last na lang na gusto nating silipin dito is yung labanan sa City of Makati. Kasi potentially, baka naging deciding factor din sa mga botante natin, yung political drama. Pero I guess that answer we'll hear or we'll find out the answer sa mga susunod na lang nating guests. Wherein, etong si Nancy Binay ay nangunguna with over 126,000 votes, followed by ang kanyang brother-in-law na si Luis Campos with over 95,000 votes. For the Vice Mayor naman of the City of Makati, we have Kid Peña, 164,000 votes, and the Monsor del Rosario with 58,000 votes. So far, we're still waiting for the final 20% of the COMELEC partial and unofficial votes. So siguro for now, antabayanan din natin bukod sa 15-minute delay ng COMELEC, sino na nga ba yung mga tatanghalin talaga o ipoproclaim na mananalo at mamamahala, local and national.
Pero mukhang nag-grant na yung birthday wish ni ni Nancy Binay.
Yes, mukhang magiging happy talaga ang
Oo, and she did claim na she went around Makati before itong election. I mean, during the campaign period, ang sabi niya, talagang yung sigaw ng mga taga Makati is they want a Binay to be leading them. Yun.
kahit alam mo naman natin, si outgoing Congressman Luis Campos, sabi niya, ipagpapatuloy niya lang, magiging seamless yung transition dahil he will just take over from outgoing Mayor Abby Binay, who is number 15 as we speak sa senatorial race. Maraming salamat kay Mary Mon Reyes. And 5 minutes ago, before 2 in the morning, and we're trying to get the side of COMELEC. Of course, Commission on Elections, they've been busy all throughout since this morning. At susubukan natin bumalik. Once again, salamat sa ating mga analysts. Chicky, Cheska, before we say goodbye, alam ko inaantay pa natin ang panig ng COMELEC sa ngayon dahil sabi nga natin, close to a little over 21% ang inaantay na lang natin sa partial and unofficial tally.
Yes, Andre, siguro, since may konting time pa tayo.
Go ahead.
Yes. Professor, what do you think, meron ba talagang factor itong political drama when it comes to the intonation of voters? Or is it just, a play of ear, they play by ear? What's in a name, yun na lang boboto namin? Or deciding factor din itong drama?
May factor siya because looking at the trends nung sa surveys, there was an uptick or an increase in the numbers of certain personalities involved with endorsements. And ever since this ICC arrest of the former president, nag-change din yung complexion and yung hugis kumbaga ng not just the senatorial race but even the trust of the vice president. So definitely the political drama does have an effect. Is it an overwhelming or dominating effect on the psyche of the Philippines? I think they're still largely voting on the election issues that they have cited, yung public health, inflation, food security. They want our leaders to help solve the problems of the Filipino people. So that's what they're mainly voting on. But I think, yes, factored in itong political dramas.
So nag-iba na. So talagang you're saying, Professor Guido, right now, issues-based na yung voting ng ating population and hindi na personality-based. Is it necessarily the case or?
I think it's a combination of both. May issues-based, but there will still be some personality-based. Because I think yung Filipino voting bloc, when they vote personalities, it's because they trust these personalities. And they entrust them to lead them. And certain personalities are trusted because in the public eye, they have delivered in the past. So may issues-based, may personalities-based. I mean, it's not compartmentalized into certain, but it's a combination of these.
While we have you, Professor Guido, during the break kanina, si Professor Ranjit said something very interesting.
Okay.
Na sinabi niya na, surveys might have to do some soul searching, and you had a very different reaction to that.
Yeah, I mean, surveys can get it right. Surveys can sometimes miss. It's rare that they will miss very badly. I mean, this is part of the survey process. It's not a predictive thing. And, we take it as it is. And we mentioned, surveys are snapshot. Most survey companies got similar results. Although, as we mentioned, yung actual numbers, people were asking, but iba-iba yung lumalabas sa survey? But most of them got the number 1 and number 2, the same names for number 1 and number 2. But now we're seeing very different results. I mean, very different in terms of the rankings, but they are more or less the same names. Yung nasa top 12, they're all within the top 12 margin of error. So I don't think we have to do some soul searching. I think the results are it is what it is. Sometimes local surveys like sa Manila, the Octa Research survey showed got more or less what it's reflecting, and sometimes it's not. Like in the Senate race where it's very dynamic and a lot of endorsements, last minute endorsements, and can change the result of the outcome.
Thank you so much again, Professor Guido David, for your time, and good morning.
Good morning.
Prof. Dito, magsistay ka pa dito hanggang alas 6? Ay, hindi. Natawa na lang siya. Maraming salamat once again to Professor Guido David, Fellow of Octa Research. Oras natin, 1:59. Chiki, Cheska.
And that's it for the last 3 hours on our end, actually on their end.
Yes.
Meron pa akong next
staying.
4 hours.
Well,
I'm Chiki Burhel.
Yes, Chiki will stay with you with Denise Tan and Denise Valdesancho. Mary Monrez will also be staying. Well, stay with us. Keep it here as On One News, as Signal, One News, 1PH, Media Quest, TV5 through FM, PLDT Smart, The Philippine Star, Filipino Star ngayon, Business World, The Freeman, and Think Ka Muna all join forces to give you our intensified 31-hour non-stop coverage on the 2025 midterm elections. Ako po si Andre Felix, maraming salamat.
Denise Tan, Chiki Vergel, and Denise Valdesancho will remain on watch as votes come in the wee hours of the morning. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Hindi ka na matutulog.